How's everybody doing this morning?
Morning.
Justin, how are you?
What's going on? Oh, beautiful Tuesday. Ready to get some education on?
Absolutely. Justin, have you been getting my calls and my text messages?
I have my phone right here.
Your reaction makes me think that you're not getting my phone calls or your calls.
Do you know, I'm trying to figure out, it's because I don't know if it's that my email or if it's my phone number, but when I first signed up, I'm completely new to real estate. So I had got a separate phone line. So I had like all my real estate calls going to one line. And then I originally started with like emails that I created. And then Kim helped me create that. So yesterday when we were on trying to get the participant guide, for some reason, I couldn't click the link. It wouldn't allow me to go through that link. I had to go through KW and use the email that I used before to kind of get it out. So
I've called you and texted you a bunch of times and I got no responses from you.
What can I ask you what number you have? I don't, because I checked my phone yesterday and I still have no voicemail and text messages. I'm sorry, I'm dropping everything everywhere.
I've got 401. You there, Justin?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry.
401-771-5087.
Yeah, that's the number. But the only 40, are you a 40? The only 401 missed call that I have is a 401-329-0594, and that's from the 15th.
All right, we'll figure it out after Ignite today.
All right, I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. How's everybody else doing out there in New England region?
Are you 261? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Gotcha.
That's me, Justin.
Sorry about that.
Is anybody out there? Everybody's on mute. Nobody wants to talk this morning.
Can you hear me? I'm here.
Hey, there you go. Hi, Robin.
How you doing, Nicholas?
I'm doing great.
Good.
So this is going to be an interactive day. So I want to make sure that you guys know how to take the mute off. Hold that space bar down and talk to me. I want to hear you guys talk today. So how's everybody doing today?
Good. Cold.
Yeah, it's a little chilly today.
It's
Nicole,
extra
where are
chilly
you
if you have horses.
Nicole, where are you out of?
Maine, Portland.
Maine. Oh yeah. So it's a lot colder way up there. I'm pretty much as far south as I can possibly get here in the New England region. I'm down in Rhode Island. So.
Oh, nice.
Maine,
I had to do musical hay this morning, so it was real cold.
Yeah. So what's the temperature down there in Maine? Or up there in Maine?
Well, it said it was 7 this morning, but it felt like -12. So it was a good time.
After the last couple of days, we had some nice warm weather, and then it just kind of went the opposite direction. A couple of days ago, I was like, man, the spring is here. The spring market's coming. This is awesome. This is exciting.
I hope so.
I woke up today and I was like, whoa, this is not the spring market.
Can you guys tell me what the I'm sorry.
Fine.
Can you tell me what the Facebook page is? I'm trying KWNE Ignite 2.0, but I am not getting anything from yesterday's class. I don't see anything posted.
I am probably the worst person to ask that question too. I have an assistant and a wife that do all my social media for me, so I apologize.
No problem.
But I'm sure we'll get some other coaches that'll come on here in a little bit, and somebody will be able to give us the answer to that.
Thank you. Just wanted to download some of the information from yesterday. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. And Hans, are you on here right now? I see my picture down there. I think that's my office. I don't see my assistant on here yet. Does anybody that's here know the link to the Ignite Facebook page? Does anybody know what that is? Has anybody been there? You can post that in the chat for me.
I'll pull it up right now.
Thank you, Nicole.
Trying the one they gave me, but I don't see anything from yesterday, just from last September.
Yeah, Barb just posted it. Aaron posted a link in there this morning.
That would be it. All right. And what is the address?
So they're posting it in the chat right now.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you, everybody that just did that. I appreciate it.
I'm not awake yet. Sorry.
Right? I'm not really a morning person either, so that's why I like to do affirmations in the morning. How many of you guys do affirmations in the morning when you wake up?
Not really affirmations, but in my Bold handbook, my schedule book, at the beginning of every day, it has, what are you grateful for? So, you
I
know,
like it.
windy but sunshine, you know, we need the sunshine.
I like it. I like it.
I don't do affirmations, but I kind of have this belief that like we do control our general atmosphere. So even if you are in an office, the environment in your personal office is what you choose to make it. So kind of about perspective, I feel like.
Absolutely. Negativity breeds negativity. Positivity breeds positivity, right? Anytime I have anybody in my coaching program that comes in negative, that's the first thing that I try to take care of, is that negativity. Let's get that out of the way. Let's get that out of the space right here, right? So we want to be super positive. And that's where affirmations are super, super helpful. So how many of you guys want to do an affirmation with me this morning? Just a couple? Just a couple? All right. So I've been teaching Ignite for a long, long time. Ignite used to start off with affirmations. I've taken Bold multiple times, which is a higher level coaching program that we have here at KW, and affirmations are a big part of that. So how I used to always start off every Ignite session was I would say an affirmation. I'd have everybody come up with their own affirmation. I'm not going to do that today because I'm expecting over 100 people here today, so we're not going to do that. But what I'd like to do to get the day started before we get going is say the Bold affirmation, and that's, I'm a great salesperson. So on 3, we're all going to say it as loud as we possibly can, okay? I'm a great salesperson. I'm a great salesperson. Does everybody have it? Justin, what are we going to say?
I'm a great salesperson.
I'm a great salesperson, right? Like I said, I'm not a morning person, so I gotta get energized right now, okay?
I challenge everybody to unmute.
Yeah, everybody unmute that. Yeah, there we go. Everybody get yourself unmuted
Hello.
right now. Hold down the space bar.
Good morning.
Right? Hold down that space bar. I'm a great salesperson on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I'm a great salesperson. I'm a great salesperson.
Great salesperson.
I'm a great salesperson.
I'm a great saleswoman.
I'm a great salesperson.
I
Man,
like
there's a
it. I
lot of
like it.
great
I like it. That's the way
salesperson.
that we start an Ignite 2.0 right there in the morning. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you guys for doing that with me. So, all right, let's get started. My name is Nick Geisinger. I am going to be the instructor of Ignite 2.0 today. So a little bit about myself. I've been selling real estate for over 12 years. I've sold over 500 properties. I own my own real estate team, the Geisinger Group. I'm also the productivity coach for Northern Rhode Island. I've got 65 people currently in my coaching program. And then I'm also a large multifamily investment owner. So I've got a pretty diverse background when it comes to real estate. And that's why today, that's why I was excited to teach lead generation. So what did you guys learn about lead generation yesterday in Ignite 2.0 the first session?
Lead generation is actually our real job and not real estate.
Exactly. Right. How many of you guys got your real estate license and were like, yes, this is exciting. I get to go sell pretty things now.
I got my license.
And you guys were like, yeah, I'm going to sell pretty things right now. Right. That's what a lot
I'm
of us
cool with
think,
selling
right?
the ugly things too, though. I like the investment
True.
properties.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a big investment owner like myself, then you find them to be very beautiful, right? I love investment properties.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah,
profit and
you
loss.
see the potential.
But the reality is that it's not about selling pretty things or ugly things, although that's still something we do. What we really do is we lead generate. All right. Do you guys even know what lead generation is?
Yep.
What's lead generation?
Talking to people and
Pipeline.
make connections so you can sell and buy houses with them.
Conversations, right? Which is pretty much what you guys just said. It's all about conversations. So for today's class, we're going to be focusing on lead generation, of course, which is the fundamental to what we do as real estate agents, right? If it isn't for lead generation, if we're not lead generating, then we're not selling pretty things, okay? And that comes first, right? That's the most important thing that we are going to do as real estate agents. Our main job is to generate leads, okay? So give me 1 second. I'm just going to get the screen up. Can somebody give me
Nick,
control?
sorry to interrupt. It's Erin McLaughlin.
Yeah.
Did you come in as a host? Because you can't.
Yeah, it doesn't look like I am.
Okay, so I'm gonna log out and come back in as the host, and then I'll give you co-host because I didn't come in as a host either. So I'll
Sure.
do that right now.
Yeah, that'd
So
be great. Thank you.
hang tight, everybody.
Yeah, Nick, it's Timmy. I'm here too. We'll monitor the chat for you.
I am not going anywhere, guys. So don't think I'm jumping out of here. Only Aaron's leaving us. So. I appreciate you hanging out with me today, Tim.
More than welcome.
So any questions while we're waiting for me to gain control of this, this
Yes.
Zoom meeting?
How do
Actually,
you
have
lead, Jen?
How do I lead generate? All right, we're going to talk about that today a lot, but I'm a big sphere guy, right? So 95% of the real estate transactions that my team does is sphere based, right? So I hammer my sphere. All right, I spent many years and thousands of dollars purchasing leads, and I no longer do that anymore. I spend all my money on my own sphere, and that's through mailers, phone calls, client appreciation parties, all kinds of things like that. Mother's Day, I bring flowers to all the mothers in my sphere. So we do a lot of stuff like that. We really focus on those people because the return I'm going to get on those people that I've already closed deals with, people that know and like me, is tenfold what I'm going to get out of those purchase leads. So how do I lead generate? I do a little bit of everything, right? So phone calls, social media. I'll tell you guys straight out, I do not do social media, all right? Because that's not something I like to do. It's not something that I can get myself to do every day. So I've hired people to do it for me, right? So my wife, who's on my team, she handles a lot of the social media stuff. And then my assistant, he posts a lot of my social media stuff. So social media is incredibly important. So I have people on a regular basis. They say, hey, Nick, if you could stop everything you're doing right now and just do one thing, what would it be? And I always say social media. And their response is, but you don't like social media. I know I don't like social media, but it's free and it works, right? So if you guys can do social media, that's one thing that I would definitely push. But I'm an old school agent too. I like to do handwritten note cards, right? So I try to get 5 to 10 out every single week. I like to get on the phone and talk to people. I like to grab coffee. So those are things that I do as a real estate agent for lead generation.
Nick's really old school. All of his handwritten notes are in black and white, by the way, too. Just got one the
Yeah.
other day.
All right,
So,
Nick,
You
you're
have
all
control
set.
now if you want to launch that screen.
Yep,
all right, cool.
you should be all set.
All right. Does everybody see my screen now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent. All right, so let's officially start this thing. So welcome everybody to Ignite 2.0. This is Spark session number 2. Lead generation is the core of your business. And after 12 years of selling real estate at a really high level and coaching agents at a really high level, I will tell you that 100% lead generation is the core of your business. It's the most important thing that you guys are going to do every single day. And you guys are extremely lucky because it took me a couple years as a real estate agent before I realized how important lead generation was. I didn't have Ignite 2.0. I didn't have Keller Williams when I came into this business to show me the way and give me all the tools. You guys are so lucky that you have coaches here and, Command and all this amazing technology stuff that you guys can take access of. So what successful agents do every day? Okay. They grow their business and they run their business. Can you guys run your business if you don't grow it?
No.
No. Right? Can you grow your business if you don't run it? Anybody?
No way,
No.
Jose.
No way, right? So real estate, it's two sides right there. And that's what we're going to really talk about through this whole Ignite 2.0 experience. We're going to talk about growing your business and then running your business. Today, we're going to really focus on the growth aspect in growing your business. And that's that lead generation with buyers, sellers, and I'm going to add one, investors as well, right? Buyers, sellers, and investors. That's who we're really trying to lead generate for. All right, so before we dive into it, we're going to talk briefly about the lead generation model, okay? And this is the model that we're going to really focus on today. You're going to dive back into this model multiple times as you guys go through this journey on Ignite 2.0. And it's really, it's kind of just gives you a perspective of what lead generation looks like. Most of us think lead generation from yesterday, it's just the conversations, but it's a little more in depth than that. We break that down into multiple different categories. And the ultimate goal for us through this lead generation is for us to achieve our big why. That big why. What's the reason everybody became a real estate agent? Why are you in real estate right now? What is the big why? What's the driving force? If you don't have a driving force, okay, then there's no incentive to come to work every day. There's no incentive to lead generate to get those leads and build that business. All right. So let me just move my screen around here. All right. So what we're going to be talking about, the three main sections. The first is going to be lead generation. And we're going to dive into prospecting and marketing. That's what we're going to touch on first. Then we're going to discuss databasing. All right. The difference between leads and contacts. What to do with the leads once we've captured them. All right, then we're going to talk about our sales pipeline and how we cultivate those leads and contacts. All right, turn those into appointments, turn them into active clients, which ultimately will turn into active contracts, or I should say under contracts, and then close transactions. So we're going to jump right into lead generation today. All right, so lead generation is broken down into two things, prospecting and marketing. What is the difference between prospecting and marketing? Does anybody know the difference between prospecting and marketing?
Prospecting is direct tailored messaging. Sorry,
Ryan, can you go, Ryan?
Sure. Prospecting is directly tailored to a single person. Marketing, you're just kind of sending it out into the ether and hoping people come in contact with it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's pretty much where you're at right there. All right, let's go to the next slide. All right. So before we talk about the whole basis of this slide, I love this slide because it kind of gives you an idea of the difference between the two of them. So we've got marketing and we've got prospecting. Prospecting is active. It's going out there having conversations right now. So what are some examples of what prospecting is? Talking to people directly right now. How do we talk to people directly right now? How do we prospect for business for right now?
Networking, wherever you go,
Make
shake
phone
hands.
calls.
Going to network events, okay? Having direct conversations with somebody, right? So if I go to a network event and I see Justin, all right, and I start having conversation with him, Justin, what do you do? Oh, I'm a real estate agent. I'm always trying to help people looking to buy, sell, invest in real estate. Do you happen to know anybody? All right, that is actively prospecting, right? That's having a conversation right now to get the business right now, okay? Somebody else said phone calls, right? Phone calls are prospecting as well, all right? Because it's getting on the phone, having a direct conversation with somebody, all right? Getting a immediate response, right? So calling somebody up, all right? Hey, Ryan, what's going on? This is Nick Geisinger from Keller Williams. Have a little bit of a conversation, then jump into, hey, do you know anybody looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Who do you know right now looking to buy? Who can I help? All right, that's prospecting. Now, marketing, all right, and other prospecting, of course, is going to be, text messaging, right? That could be prospecting. Facebook messaging, direct messaging could be prospecting as well. Door knocking, prospecting. Okay. And then the phone calls, that could be just about anybody, right? For sale by owners, visible. There's a lot of different things that we can do for prospecting. All right. What about marketing? What are some marketing ideas? What are some things that we do for marketing?
Advertisements.
Advertisements, billboards on the highway, right? What else? What else is a marketing?
Facebook ads.
Facebook.
A Facebook ad.
Yep. Instagram, maybe.
It could be any type of an ad, right? Ads. Okay. Mailers.
Pens
right?
and pencils with your name on it.
Farming, pens. Yep. How many people have gone out and got pens, bought like 100 pens that have your name and your picture on it? Every time you go to a restaurant, you leave that pen in there, take the other pen out. Right? That's marketing. Right? So marketing is going to be, typically it's going to be more money intensive. Okay. It's a passive way of lead generating. Right? And it's going to have long-term results. Right? So marketing is putting things out there with the hope that somebody will come back and talk to you, right? As opposed to prospecting, which is you actually going out and starting the conversation, right? If you're at the grocery store and you're checking out, right? And there's a 19-year-old girl working behind the register and you say, hey, I'm a real estate agent. Do you happen to know anybody looking to buy, sell, invest in real estate? Is that prospecting or is that marketing?
That's prospecting.
That's prospecting, right?
Okay.
Talking to them directly. All right. And there's always a chance that that person may know somebody looking to buy, sell, invest in real estate.
Yeah.
How often do you guys go to the grocery store and think, I should ask the person ringing me out if they know anybody looking to buy, sell, invest in real estate?
Never do I think
Every
that.
time.
Every time. Who said every time?
Adriel Cabrera did.
I love it. I love it. You should do that, right? You guys, you have your real estate license now. Your whole life revolves around real estate. Everywhere you go should be a conversation about real estate. Every single person you talk to, right? You call your doctor to schedule an appointment. You can ask whoever it is checking you in, the assistant, hey, do you happen to know anybody looking to buy, sell, invest in real estate? Okay. When I go to the doctor's office, I wear my real estate pin. The doctor says, how are you? I respond with, I'm great. The market's super hot. Everybody's buying, everybody's selling. Hey, on that note, do you happen to know anybody looking to buy, sell, invest in real estate? Right? Every opportunity you see somebody, you should ask that question. I teach at a lot of larger events, and there'll be like 400 or 500 real estate agents there. And I'll go into those events and I'll go up to the bar. I'll order a drink. Typically a couple hours in, I'll ask this question. Has anybody asked you who you know looking to buy, sell, invest in real estate? All right. How often do you think that bartender says, 400 people asked me? Never. I'm almost always the first person to ask that bartender. All right. I've gotten leads from bartenders at real estate events because I was the only one willing to ask. Right. My dentist just bought an $800,000 house. He called me up and said, hey, Nick, I need to go look at this house. I showed him the one house. I sold an $800,000 house. I made a $20,000 commission just from every time I see him and he's working on my teeth, talking to him about real estate. Right. That is prospecting. Okay. That is prospecting. Marketing is my dentist every 2 months gets a magazine in the mail. Okay. That has me and my wife on the cover. And then he takes that and he puts it in the waiting room. Right. That's marketing. All right. And every person that comes in to get their teeth cleaned, they see my picture on that magazine. Now, I might not get a phone call immediately. Right. I might not get any phone calls from that magazine, but that's marketing. All right. And it's exposure. Right. It puts my face out there. Okay. Other marketing opportunities that we have are for sale signs. Right. All my for sale signs have my face on it. My face is huge. Actually, I'm going to show you guys. I got one right here.
I want a big one.
These are my for sale signs. My face is 1/3 of the for sale sign. Why do you think I do that?
People remember you, recognize you out and about, talk to you.
That sign cost me about $100, right?
Face to face.
$100 marketing for the rest of my career, right?
Face-to-face
Facial recognition.
interaction.
That's why I put my face on a lot of stuff. That's marketing, all right? I spend money on marketing, right? Just to make sure that people see me on a regular basis and remember that I'm a real estate agent, okay? So Keller Williams really pushes everybody to be prospecting based and marketing enhanced, okay? So let's think about that again. Let's say that one more time. Prospecting based, right? That's the base. The foundation is the base, right? Marketing enhanced. Why do you think they tell us to do that and not the reverse? Why do they say not marketing and prospect at the top? Why do you think they say that?
You get more immediate results from prospecting. You grow trust when you share. As a cosmetology instructor, we tell students like every person you meet is money. Every single person needs a haircut the same way every person you meet is going to be selling, is going to need somewhere to live. But there's little things like when you meet somebody in person and you shake their hand, touch alleviates anxiety and builds trust with people. And you also get a more immediate result from prospecting in person.
Exactly. That's great, right? Prospecting, immediate results. All right. Another big thing, it's mostly free, right? It's mostly free for real estate agents. Okay. What does it cost to knock on a door? Pick up the phone, right? Message somebody, text message somebody, right? That stuff is free. Especially you guys as brand new real estate agents. If you guys are going to lead generate, you should really focus on the free stuff. Okay. I just told you, I've been in the business for a long time. I spent a lot of money on marketing leads, right? And I got very little out of it. Okay. Purchasing leads, right? Reach out to the people you know, or go out and create relationships with people. That's a powerful thing, right? So prospecting based, we want you to be prospecting based, which means that's the fundamental. That's the structure of what you do. Conversations, door knocking, whatever your strengths are. Okay. And then marketing enhanced, right? Let that be a reminder to people. Okay. The social media posts, that's marketing. Okay. The ads, social media ads, that's marketing. Mailers, postcards, that's marketing. Magazines, billboards, right? That's all stuff that can enhance what you do prospecting, right? And my lead generation, just so you guys know, I cover all bases, right? And we're going to talk about a bunch of different ways that we lead generate a little bit later and how we work our database, right? But we want to make sure that we're hitting social media, phone calls, texts, mailers, right? Because I have clients that don't respond to texts, phone calls, emails, right? But they get my handwritten note cards in the mail. Okay, they ignore all the other stuff. And that's
Nick,
why I try to be rounded with everything. That's why Keller Williams doesn't tell you just to prospect. They tell you to prospect and be marketing enhanced. We want to do a little bit of everything, right? Which is a very powerful thing.
Nick, JJ in the chat, and I think it was in response to Justin talking about just the physical handshake. JJ, and I think with door knocking and all that kind of stuff, JJ in the chat mentioned, hasn't this all changed with the pandemic? Gary makes a great point because Nick's been talking about being prospecting based, marketing enhanced, and we used to be physically based, virtually enhanced, and now that's flipped. We're virtually based, physically enhanced. It's like it's a big deal to be out in the public, and there'll be people moving forward that may never shake your hand again because they're just never going to be comfortable with that again. What we do need to understand is that conversation is starting to change. So based on your comfort level and being respectful of 6 feet 1 inch for other people, door knocking is not gone for good. It's going to be based on your judgment and your comfort level. And again, when you are meeting people, as Justin said, there's going to be people that have no problem shaking hands again. They're looking forward to it. Other people are going to wave or touch elbows or fist bump or maybe not even open the door. But to Nick's point, having those conversations, conversation based. Yesterday, there was a lot of conversation, Nicholas, about, I'm going to use social media to build my business. When you hear an agent say that, they didn't emoji their way to $1 million. They started on social media to start the engagement. It eventually grew to a conversation and physical interaction. You're going to have away buyers that do buy stuff without ever physically meeting you. Although to Nick's point, having the marketing working for you in the background is going to be more of a spend, but will give you more time to be physically enhanced and prospecting based.
Absolutely. And I will tell you guys, I have agents right now that are still prospecting by knocking on doors, right? So it's a comfort level for you and your environment. I also know agents that are marketing, or I should say going to network events. Has that platform changed? Absolutely. A lot of those networking events have now gone to Zoom, right? But it's still the same basis, right? It's getting in front of people, having conversations, talking to people about what it is that you do and what they do and how you can build your businesses together, right? So we have definitely changed over the last year, and social media has come to the forefront, right? Because, you know, a lot of people are not comfortable knocking on doors or doing those other things. So, but that's what's incredible about real estate, is that we can evolve with it, right? So when I first got in the real estate business, my first probably 20 transactions were short sales and foreclosures, right? And that's how I sold real estate. I did 6 to 8 open houses a week on foreclosure properties. That's how I started my career, because there was nothing else to do, right? And I eventually evolved with the market. As the market got stronger, people were able to sell their homes again, all right? And I evolved into that. Now, the last year, we did a lot of social media stuff. We did, you know, I was doing listing appointments and buyer appointments virtually, right? We just kind of have to change the way we do things. And that's one of the cool things about real estate. We're not going anywhere. Doesn't matter what anybody says. This industry isn't going anywhere. We're just going to have to change some of the ways that we do certain things. So, but the reality is that picking up the phone in every single market is an incredible way to have conversations. So my agents that track themselves really intensely, okay, when COVID hit, the pickup rates on the phone calls increased. At one point, they were at 60%. 60% of the calls that they were making during COVID picked up the phone. Now, granted, they couldn't knock on doors, all right? But their call pickup rates were through the roof, right? So even though we went through the pandemic, things changed, okay? You just got to figure that out. And that's why it's important to do a mix of everything, right? You want to do handwritten note cards. You want to do phone calls. You want to do social media, right? If you can do all that and then you track it all, you can see what stuff is going to give you the best results. So regardless of what's going on with the pandemic, there is a ton of opportunity for you guys to go out and prospect and then also market at the same time.
Nicholas, Brian Mock is asking for an example on what you would do for a door knocking conversation. And I think usually we're door knocking around an open house or around a search for inventory. And Diana Kokoska would always say, I wanted to introduce myself and I knew you wouldn't have time to come to my office, so I came to you. That would sort of be her opener. And again, and Nick's going to say this probably 10 times today. When we knock on the door, especially with COVID, we would always take a step back to not appear as we're being intrusive. And we definitely maybe even want to step off the porch now these days after we knock.
I do that regardless of COVID or not.
Yep.
Right. So when I knock on the door, I have a very simple script, right? So, and I've had a lot of success with door knocking. I've had a lot of agents that I've gone out door knocking with that have had success with this script. I'm going to give it to you guys right now. I'll knock on the door. I take 2-3 steps down. I want them to always look down at me. I never want to look down on top of somebody, right? Because I don't want to look intense. I want to look up at them, right? So they feel like they have the power. When they answer the door, hey, how are you? My name is Nick Geisinger. I work with a lot, I messed it up already. Hi, my name is Nick Geisinger. I work for Keller Williams Realty. I work with a lot of buyers and sellers in the neighborhood. Just wanted to introduce myself. How are you today? That's my script, right? Nick Geisinger, Keller Williams Realty. I work with a lot of buyers and sellers in the neighborhood. Just want to introduce myself. Okay. Whether you guys are brand new or not, perspective is a big part of that question. All right, you could work with one buyer in the neighborhood, and to you, that's a lot because you're a brand new agent, right? So it doesn't mean you're working with 50 people in that neighborhood. So don't feel like I'm a brand new agent. That's not true, because the reality is perspective. What's your perspective? Okay, because I've got agents that close 20 deals a month, All right. And I've got other agents that close one every 2 months, and they are both completely content with what they're doing. And that's a lot of business for them. So perspective is a big part of it. So I work with a lot of people. How are you? I just try to start a conversation. Okay. And then we let it go from there. Oh, I'm great, blah, blah, blah. Hey, do you happen to know anybody that might be looking to buy, sell, invest in the neighborhood? As Matt said, inventory's low. I've got an open house down the street, right? Or I've got a listing down the street. I'd like to invite you to come by and take a look at it, right? It's very easy, especially during COVID, to invite people to open houses. And I've had a lot of success with COVID, door knocking, with those type of situations. Hey, just wanted to invite you or anybody you know to this property that I have down the street, right? And that's why I will list my houses a certain day of the week. All right, I'll list them on like a Thursday, right? Knowing that Friday I'm going to door knock the neighborhood for my open house on Saturday. All right, I list my houses specific so that I can do an open house. If I list my house on a Monday, that thing's under contract by Thursday. I'm not even doing an open house. I'm not even going to get to do the door knocking. So if you're trying to do stuff like that, you can mix that in as well. So does anybody else have any questions in regards to the difference between prospecting and marketing?
I have a question on local, like, have you had success with your local chamber of commerce, local business associations, Rotary clubs, things of that nature? I mean, I say that I have with my other business, and I don't know if you in real estate, because I know diving deep into your local community can be really a good way to kind of give back and also get out of it as well. But is that something that you have experienced or done yourself?
I have not done that personally. But I have a lot of agents that have and have done it at a high level. I have a running club that I'm a part of. All right. And that's one of my huge lead generation sources, is I go and I run and I'm the realtor in the running club. But that certainly works. And you can do that at a high level. And once again, those clubs and things like that, they are still meeting, right? So I have agents even through COVID that are meeting. Any opportunity you can get in front of people, specifically, I want to enhance this, business professionals, absolutely, you want to jump all over that, right? Anytime you can join any of those clubs, anytime you can join a BNI, anything, right, where you can refer business is going to be super, super helpful. Any opportunity, there are tons, right? So groups, there's so many opportunities there. So if you can get on that, definitely join as much as you possibly can, right? Another thing that a lot of my agents did earlier this year, which was incredibly successful, was they were kind of, especially with COVID, they were hammering their databases, and they're like, we need more leads. So what they started doing was reaching out to other local businesses, okay? Having conversations with them, and then doing a small little 5-minute or less interview with that business. Hey, just wanted to see how your business was doing during COVID. Let's say a daycare, right? So a local daycare. They would reach out to a local daycare. They'd set up a time where they could do a video conference just on a Zoom, record it and post that on social media, and just ask them about their business, okay? And how they're making it through this time. And then they really didn't talk too much about real estate. They had themselves labeled as, Tyler from Keller Williams Realty. But it was more about focusing on that business professional. And what they did was they built a relationship with that business professional, okay, so that they would send them future business. And then that business professional took that video, not only posted it on the realtor side, but also posted on theirs, all right, showing that this guy, Tyler, for example, cared enough to try and see what they could do to help that business professional. All right. And then it puts you in the spotlight. So I thought that was really creative. I had a lot of agents that did that. They were doing that on a weekly basis. A couple of weeks ago, I just hammered it. I'm like, you need to get back to doing that. Right. Because that's super powerful. And I know agents got transactions from that. So it's not quite like the organized networking that you were talking about. But you can still get out there with those business professionals.
Great. Thank you. That's awesome.
Did anybody have anything else in regards to prospecting or marketing? All right, I'm gonna give you guys something really cool that I'm gonna be doing this year. So me and my wife, our team, like I said, we're database driven. We focus really around our database. We always like to have client appreciation parties. So how do we have a client appreciation party during COVID?
Virtual, like Zoom?
Virtual, you could do that for sure. How do we actually get them? How do we get them to come and see us?
Send out
It's okay if you don't have the answer. I wasn't expecting everybody to have the answer. All right, so what we're doing is we have a portrait photographer. We have hired her for the full day. All right, and what we're doing is this spring, we're going to take her out to an incredible location and we're going to have her take family portraits for the whole day. Every 15 minutes for a whole day, we're going to have a different group of our clients come out. We're going to take pictures of them. We're going to probably have like some champagne, cocktails, things like that, hang out with them for the day. They'll be in there for 15 minutes. They leave, then the next group comes in, and then we're going to have all their pictures edited, and then we're going to give them their prints back, right? So sometimes we just got to get creative. So we couldn't do a client appreciation party. And I'll tell you guys, we usually spend about $2,000 on a client appreciation party. We rent out a brewery. All right, we bring in food, we give them free alcohol, we thank them for sending us all this business. We can't do that. So we were able to hire our photographer for $500. And then it's just time at that point in time. So for $500, we can appreciate all of our clients and have them come in for those.
Hey, Nick, can I ask you a question off of that really quickly?
Sure.
And it's only because it just crossed my mind. You said that you had a photographer coming in to do like pictures for them. Yep. I do work at a hair school and could probably easily pull a couple students to come and maybe like bring some curling irons and plug in to do like touch-ups on them if you wanted, completely pro bono from the school.
We'll talk after the class. For sure about that. So, but
Nick, what I love about that idea too is you are creating space to spend quality time with each individual too. If you and your wife were having this mass event, they would all get a chance to see you, but you may not connect with each person. You're making them feel special because they're all having individual photos done. And then after their session, they're spending time with you and your wife where you get to have a direct conversation with them about them. And then the next group moves through. So rather than making sure you move around the whole room, you're getting these individual I mean, you'll be exhausted at the end of the day.
Of course.
But ultimately, you're going to make all of your clients feel super special. And then you get the added touch of sending them the photos.
Exactly.
Right? That's massive.
Then
Great
we
idea.
Then we can print a photo and we can put our logo right over their face, right? No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, no, it's a really cool idea. Actually, me and my wife, we went to family reunion last week, well, virtually, and we were driving up to New Hampshire, going on a little vacation, and we were listening to one of the lead generation conversations and breakout sessions, and that's when we came up with the idea. We're like, oh, we put off doing a client appreciation. What are we going to do? And then we're like, well, we've got this photographer. Let's do this, right? And who doesn't want to come and get a free portrait, right? So, I mean, it's like you said, it's a great opportunity. And then there's also a touch after, a handwritten note card, right? And I'll tell you guys that's a big thing that I do. Every conversation I have with my clients, they get a handwritten note card after, right? And that's part of your daily 10-4. Right, that's something that you guys should be doing anyways, right? Handwritten note cards are incredibly powerful. I am going to do them the rest of my life. All right. And my question for you guys, when was the last time you got a handwritten note card? When was the last time one of you got, look, we're thinking about, I see Tyler, he's right in front of me. He's thinking, he's like, man, I don't
Grandma.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, every holiday.
Now you made me sad because I send them, but I never get one.
Christmas card, maybe. Right? And they don't even write nothing in there. It's just a picture nowadays, right?
House.
Wedding invitation, thank you letter or something like, right? You don't ever get them. All right. How many of you guys would open a handwritten note card if you got one? How many of you guys would read the whole thing?
I would.
Yeah.
Everybody would, right? That's the power of a handwritten note card. All right. I have agents that I coach on a regular basis and they fight me on it. All right, so I had one of my agents one day, I said, hey, sit down, write a handwritten note card right now. How long do you think it took him to write a handwritten note card?
20
10
seconds.
less than a minute.
Yeah.
Right? Less than a minute. And it cost him, what's postage now? 60 cents? I don't even know. Right? It cost the postage. All right. Everybody's, I don't have time to write handwritten note cards. Right? The reality is you could easily write 10 of them in 10 minutes. Right? And
Depending on your writing.
I'll give you guys a tip. So what I do is every single month I type my handwritten note card and I have it in front of me. Right? So I don't even have to think about what I'm writing. Dear, put the name. All right. The first conversation is, hey, it was so great talking to you. Thank you for your time. The second sentence is about them. That's the only customized sentence. Hey, it was so great hearing about the kids and hockey season this year. That's super exciting. All right. Second line is, you know, please do keep me in mind if you know anybody looking to buy, sell, invest in real estate. And then the last sentence is something else, right? It's just very easy. 3 or 4 sentences. And I write the same thing to every single person. I change that one sentence every single time. That saves me time. And then every month I change it or I tweak it slightly. Because if I just so happen to talk to that person 2 months in a row, which typically doesn't happen, but if I do, I don't want to send them the exact same handwritten note card, right? So I try to change through it. I actually, I change through it every time I get through the DTD2, which you guys probably don't know about yet. You will know about that at some point in time in the near future, the DTD2, but that's a way of reaching out to your sphere. So any other questions in regards to prospecting and marketing? All right, great. We're going to dive right into database. So what's a database?
Your centralized location for all your contacts, people you want to keep in touch with.
Ryan, what did you do before you got into real estate?
I actually used to work in divorce finance, so I did a lot of prospecting.
Okay. All your answers are very technical. That's why I was asking that question. It's like Ryan had to be an engineer or something like that. All right. So I know a bunch of people said a bunch of things. A database, right? It's a collection of data. Very simple, right? It's a collection of data in one location. All right. So your database is one location. We collect data on all the people that we're prospecting and marketing for, right? All the people that we know. Okay. So what do we put in a database?
Every single thing you can about the person, name, address, phone number, email, notes on how you met them, everything, every single thing, neighborhood.
Animal's name,
Yeah.
right? Children's names, birthdays, me personally, favorite alcoholic beverage, favorite restaurant, right? As much information as I can gather. The reason why I said that alcohol part is because when I close on a deal, I usually give my clients, if they drink alcohol, I like to give them some sort of a boozy gift, right? So what's their favorite champagne? What's their favorite type of wine? What's their favorite liquor? What's their favorite beer, craft beer, right? So I try to gather as much information as I possibly can. The more information I have on somebody, the better I can have a conversation with them, right? Okay. And if we have, so me, for example, I've got a small database. I've got 300 people in my database. 300 rock stars in my database. That's why it's so small, right? You could add, there's people that have 2,000 people in their databases. All right. If I've got, say mine, I only have 300. If I got 300 people in my database, am I going to remember all the little details about their family? Probably not. 300, that's a lot of people. 300 people plus a spouse, right? Plus children. Now we're talking like 1,500 people I need to keep track of, right? I don't even know my wife's phone number, right? There's no way I'm going to remember all their information, okay? So that's why we have a database, a collection, one place that we can put it, okay?
You better hope she didn't hear that.
Oh, she knows. She knows. I know her birthday. That's all that really matters.
That's all that matters.
All right. So your database, all right, it centrally stores information. Okay. It's something that we have to update regularly. All right. It can be organized to meet specific needs. All right. Lead generation feeds your database. Okay. So we've talked about the lead generation being the most important thing that we're going to do as real estate agents. That's our actual job. right? Like we lead generate, you guys will end up lead generating more than you will ever sell real estate, right? If you guys want to grow your business and you want to take it to the next level, okay? The most important tool that we use with lead generation is what?
Ourselves.
Not ourselves. Database, right? I thought that was a like really simple one, right? Database, right? Our database, that's the tool. So you guys are incredibly lucky that you chose Keller Williams, right? Because Keller Williams has an incredible database. All right, I use it. A lot of my agents use it at an incredibly high level, and that is Command. Command has a database. Command has everything, to tell you the truth, right? So your database in Command, all right, that is the hub for your lead generation, right? Before I get into showing you guys how to build that database and how to add contacts to that database, I want to tell you one story, okay? I've got an agent that's in my silver program, which is my higher level coaching program. And for 6 months, I did everything I possibly could, other than to kick this guy out of Keller Williams, to get him to put all his contacts in Command. All right. And every week, I know, I would text him, reach out to him a million times. All right. And he started slowly adding them. Okay. 2 weeks ago, I had a coaching session and he walks in and we start our group coaching with Success. And he goes, I added all my contacts to Command. And then he goes, boom. He's like, my brain exploded. I added my contacts to Command and my lead generation became 10 times easier. Because now I have a central place that I can make phone calls from, send text messages, emails from, and it's right in front of me. All right, there is no easier way to lead generate than having your database, your Command database open in front of you, right? And since then, on a weekly basis, he uses that Command to do his lead generation, and he's doing it at a very high level, and he's increased his production by twofold, all right? By stopping, because before he was like calling people on his phone, and he's on like social media, and he could have been calling the same like 5 people, right, over and over and over again. Now he's got it organized. Now he's calling those people, the whole list, consistently. Did somebody have a question?
I did. Sorry about that. Now in Command, I know there's a separate class for more specific instructions for Command, but is that somewhere, can you send like a mass text or a mass email, kind of if you just wanted to write a few lines of kind of the same thing, or do you have to send them one by one in Command?
I'm going to rephrase what I said earlier. You can do anything in Command. Okay. So you can absolutely do that. Yep. You can send out group emails. And that's really one of the powers of it. We're going to talk about that briefly today. But smart plans are pre-made. I mean, they have text messages. You don't have to even text them. You can automatically text message people the same thing, right? You can automatically email them the same thing, and Command will just change out their name and make it look personal, right? So you can absolutely do all that stuff. And I'm not sure, I can't remember what the limit is on the amount of people that you can contact with one email, but it's pretty high. I think it's like 2,000 or something like that. So you can definitely do all that stuff.
So when you say put all your contacts into Command, do you mean people in your market, or do you mean everybody? Like I have a bunch of contacts in Canada, for example. I don't think they're going to help me too much here in Maine.
So your first question, I'm going to say yes. Your second question or statement, I'm going to say, no, you're wrong, right? We want to add everybody. You can add real estate agents. You can add people from Canada. You can add people from anywhere, right? I just got a check last month for $2,000 because a friend of mine purchased a house in Austin, Texas. And I did nothing, right? All I did, I actually spent a little bit of time. I spent a couple hours. I found a realtor down there in Austin. And then he worked with that realtor, and then I got a referral check, right? So everybody you know should be in that database, right? So me personally, I told you guys I have 300, right? So I have added people, I add a lot of people, and then I clean it out, right? So the people that send me the most amount of leads, the closest people to me, those are the ones that I really focus on. But the reality is that if you look at my database, of those 300, probably 100 of those are outside of this country. Or I should say are outside of Rhode Island where I live, right? Because I can always refer deals out to them. And I want them to understand that as well. Hey, if you know anybody looking to buy, sell, invest in Austin, Texas, give me a call. I'll hook them up. I got a great realtor, right? And then I'll get 25% of that transaction. Does it get any better than that?
No.
How many of you guys want to get a $2,000 check in the mail?
I just did a referral for a Martha Vineyard one. It was pretty high too, so it
There
works.
you go. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, if you know people in other parts of the country, absolutely. So I use Command a bunch of different ways, right? So I've got realtors in it. I've got, and I'm a coach, so it's a little bit different how I do it, but you can absolutely add people from your market center if you want to, or other real estate agents, right? If anybody out there knows anybody looking to buy, sell, or invest in Rhode Island, add me to your database, send them to me. I'll send you a 25% referral, guys. Right here, Nick Geisinger. My email, nickg@kw. I will send you 25% all day, every day. So you should definitely be adding realtors to your database, right? Or anybody, right? Anybody can be added to your database. It really depends on you. I don't know, Tim, if you want to add to that, but I like the smaller type of sphere database that I really focus on. But I've got agents that have 2,000 people in theirs or more, and they lead generate that. And they're able to do it at a pretty high level.
The only thing I'm shocked by, Nicholas, because you're an avid runner, is that you don't ask for 26.2%. I always find that marathon runners like to ask for 26.2, which drives me crazy because then your MCA has to do the math,
Dude,
carry the one, divide by
am not,
3.
look at me. I am not a marathon runner. I'm a big dude. I like to run in the woods a couple miles. I do not like to do marathons. I never even thought about doing a marathon. So,
well, you might run into some runners who ask for 26.2, but anyway, no, Nick.
I have never heard that. I would lose my shit if somebody asked me that.
Now somebody's going to do it and be like, you're the guy Lindsay was talking about.
26.2%. Like that's,
yeah,
just,
said me, yeah.
I might not even have put 2 and 2 together unless you just brought that. I would have been like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah. Why would you do that? Yeah. 25% is pretty common, pretty common practice. And Nick makes a great point. If your database is, because some people might hear that Nick's got this great business and he's got this really dedicated number in his database. If he and his wife are in constant contact and conversation with those people, and those 300 people feel overwhelmingly loved by them, and they're all going to get their pictures taken, the amount of business that will come from that. You can have 4 million people in your database and not talk to them, and it's not going to matter. If you are truly connected to your 300 or whatever your number is. The economy of scale would say, what's the best way for me to grow my business is to have more conversations with more people. Although Nick and his wife are having constant conversations with those 300, not necessarily looking for the unmets, but meeting the unmets through his mets, right? So Nick, you and your wife are saying, who do you know that we should know? Who do you know that we can serve to your people that you know and love and trust? Because they're going to know people that are like them. And if Nick already has a great relationship with them, the possibility of getting edified by them to be at the next kitchen table is a lot higher than hoping for the unmet coming from the online lead aggregator that starts with a Z.
The average person knows 7 to 10 people that will purchase real estate in the next 12 months.
Right.
Multiply 7 times 300. Do you guys know what that is? 2,100 people. I don't know about you guys, but that's a lot more than I can handle. Right? So 2,100 people is more than enough opportunities with those 300. If you feed your sphere properly, right? You got to feed it. You got to give them information. You got to reach out to them on a regular basis, right? And I have tiers too within it, right? I've got A, B, and C. The A's are the people that refer me deals every single year. Those are the ones that I'm inviting to this client appreciation party. Those are the people that get flowers on Mother's Day. Right? Those are the people that I send things to throughout the year, extra things. And then my B's, if I've got any spots left after I go through the A's, then the B's get invited and then the C's get invited. And what's great about Command is that you can have different tiers and you can organize them differently. So you've got A, B, and C, right? And the C's, maybe you just send them emails and you call them, right, 4 times a year, right? But you maybe don't invite them to your client appreciation party, right? Because that's cost effective, right? I can't invite 300 people to a party. It's especially with COVID, there's just no way it's going to happen, right? And it's very costly, it's expensive to bring 300 people there. So, but that's what's really great about is is about the command database is you can do a lot with it, and it's growing and evolving every single day, just like us. We're growing and evolving as real estate agents every single day. We're changing what we do with the times. The time of the year it is changes the way that we sell real estate, right? This is the Northeast. So right now it's cold and crazy outside. We're super slow, right? And that's just something that we have to evolve around. And that's something we have to prepare for. And that's what's really cool about these databases, that you can evolve it and you can work it, and it's going to constantly change and grow with you guys. This database in Command, it's probably not going to go anywhere. It's going to continuously change and grow over the next 10, 20 years, which is pretty exciting. All right. So before I get into the Command stuff, I want to talk about databases and the difference between two different categories that we have in that database. All right. And that is going to be, first is going to be leads and contacts. Do you guys know the difference between a lead and a contact?
Contact is somebody you've actually had a conversation with, a two-way conversation, excuse me, regarding real estate.
Exactly, right? The goal of lead generation is to generate leads, right? A lead is somebody that we have not had a conversation with yet, right? The whole goal is to take leads and turn them into contacts. All right, once we've had a conversation with them, now we have the permission, hopefully, right, to move forward and have a conversation with them. Now, I go to a party this weekend and I run into Tim, and Tim says, hey, I've got this guy, Justin, you should reach out to him. He wants to buy real estate. I reach out to him and he answers the phone, right, the first time, which was incredible because that just typically doesn't happen. Answers the phone. Hey, what's going on? I met Tim over the weekend. He said you might be looking to buy, sell, invest in real estate. Is that something you're interested in? Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I think I'm going to hold off a little bit. I'm working on my credit. All right, cool. That person is now a contact. All right, at the end of conversation, hey, do you mind if I reach out to you in a couple weeks just to touch base, kind of see where you're at? Yeah, absolutely. Right, you've got their contact information. Now they're your contact, right? Somebody that you already had a conversation with, right? Now, if you call somebody and they say, no, I don't want you bothering me, are they a contact at that point in time?
No.
Throw them out, move on to the next one, right? So leads, all right, when we're prospecting marketing, we're trying to get leads, all right? We're trying to find people looking to buy, sell, invest in real estate, all right? Once we have that conversation, then they become a contact, all right? And there's a couple different methods that Keller Williams teaches you guys to deal with these people. All right, so leads, we have something called a 19 to connect, okay? This is a plan, all right, for us to have a conversation with that person. It's 19 steps till we touch base with that person, all right? Hopefully at some point in time, we have a conversation, we can turn them into a contact, right? And so that starts off with 4 touches, quarterly phone calls, right? Because do you guys want to get a phone call every single month from somebody looking to help you with something? No, right? We don't even want to call our sphere that much. Like, my sphere loves me. I love my sphere, but they don't want to hear from me every single month. They got shit going on. They don't need to talk to me every month, right? So quarterly, 4 touches. All right, 12 touches, monthly emails, newsletters, marketing reports, videos, things like that, right? And you guys have the opportunity to really customize this how it works really for you. Promotional direct mails. Me personally, I'm a big Red Sox fan. I like to send out Red Sox schedules, although I didn't do it this year because I did it last year and then they canceled pretty much the whole season and changed the schedule on me. So, but I like to send out little things like that, 75 cents, very cheap. Handwritten note cards, stuff like that can go out. And then 1 event, right? So event for people that are leads. This is what I usually like to promote is buyer seminars, listing seminars, things like that. An opportunity for them to come and see you speak or go on a Zoom and see you speak. And I will tell you guys right now, my agents that are doing buyer seminars are crushing it, doing it via Zoom, right? So when they were doing it in person, they maybe would get 30 people to commit on a really good session, 5 people would show up. All right, now they're getting 30 people to commit and 25 are showing up because it's Zoom and it's easy. All right, so take advantage of that. Okay, so that's the lead portion of it, 19 to connect. Now, if we call that person, that first phone call, and they pick up the phone, Are we going to continue the 19 to connect with those people? No, we're going to drop them. We're going to drop them into contacts, and we're going to start a whole nother program, which is our 36 touch. All right, 36 to convert. All right, so we've got the 19 to connect. Me personally, I'll put them through the 19 to connect. If I don't reach them through the 19, I usually just throw them out. But if you want to keep going, do another 19, that's fine. But I usually try 19 approach. If I don't hit them in that 19 opportunities, then I usually say, you know what, I'm going to move on to the next one. All right, so if I reach out, maybe it's the second phone call I touch base, or maybe it's an email they respond to. At that point in time, I put them in my 36 to convert. All right, why do you think that we're doing 36 touches as opposed to 19 touches with contacts versus people that we have never met before?
Because obviously the people that we have met have a stronger connection with us. The leads that we haven't met have no idea who we are. So
exactly, you're nobody right now to these leads.
You
all right,
also
now
want
that you
them-
had a conversation, hopefully some good things, some good vibes have gone back and forth between you two, right?
Like having permission.
Exactly, having permission to call them back. That's huge. Every time I have a conversation with somebody, I always end with, hey, is it okay if I reach back out to you? Right? Because then it's not a bother. Then the first thing I say when I call them is, hey, what's going on? It's Nick. We spoke a couple months ago. You said I could call you back. Now they're like, shit, now I have to listen to this asshole. Right? So with the contacts, we've got the 36 touch or 36 to convert. All right, 4 touches. Once again, we don't want to harass people with the phone calls. So we do the 4 phone calls, 26 touch biweekly emails, right? So we're going to keep this thing going on. All right, 2 touches, events, togethers, parties, things like that, right? If you can do that stuff, that's key. All right, so you can do a couple different seminars, and then 4 touches, promotional stuff. Right, so they might get a Christmas card this year. They're definitely going to give them a baseball magnet, right? They might get a handwritten note card at some point in time. And I always, anytime I ever talk to anybody on the phone, they get a handwritten note card. Like there's no way that's not happening. Like if I have a conversation with you, you're getting that card a couple days later. So that's an absolute.
Even if they're not a lead.
What's that?
Even if they're like, oh yeah, no, I'm not interested right now. Even if they like push you off, you still do that?
It depends. I will tell you guys, when I don't do it anymore, but when I used to call for sale by owners, if they were super mean to me, I wrote them a handwritten note card, but it was like the nicest handwritten note card you could ever imagine.
Wow.
Right?
Okay. That's smart.
Hey, thank you so much for your time. Blah, blah, blah. I wish you luck with selling or whatever it might be. Right. So I write, if anybody picks up the phone, I always write. Because I will tell you, I have door knocked before and had somebody like completely tell me to go screw, right? And just because I had a conversation with them, I wrote a handwritten note card, and they called me up a couple of days later and they're like, hey, I'm interviewing a couple of agents. I figured, you left my card, you want to meet. And I got that listing and I sold that listing, right? So you should never give up on even those people if you can.
Can I just ask a quick question real quick?
Sure.
So for the 19 to connect, it's 4 touches, quarterly phone call, 12 touches, 2 touches, and 1 touch. So is that for every lead that you get, you do 4 touches, 12 touches monthly, 2 touch?
The 19 to connect is I will start making these contacts until I connect with them. Once I connect with them, then I drop them into a 36 touch, which is a little bit different.
Okay, so once one of that lead becomes a contact, you drop them into
then they go into 36 touch, and then the 36 touch starts. And command, you can actually build and customize these 36 touches. So a lot of this stuff goes out automatically. I'm not sending out emails. Like that's definitely not happening. Command is going to send them all out for me.
Nicholas, can I add something to that?
Sure.
For the 36 to convert, I heard it's also good because you want to stay in emotional proximity to them.
Absolutely.
That way they know you're the realtor to go to.
Absolutely. And that's the whole point, right? Is this person as a lead, they don't know who you are, right? But if they get weekly emails from you, they get a phone call every once in a while, they get invited to an event. Even if you guys are a brand new agent, they're going to be like, shit, this person knows what they're doing, that they're a legit business, right? And maybe they're not ready right now, right? But if you keep reaching out to them when they are ready, as long as you're that first person they think of when it comes to real estate, you're going to be the person they call, right? I get phone calls all the time and get listings and buyers from people that have close friends and family that are real estate agents. All right. Why are they calling me when they barely even know me? Because I harass the shit out of them. No, I don't really harass the shit out of them. But they're, you know, I've got these systems in place, right? I'm reaching out to them on a regular basis, right? You can't get away from me. All right. You know that I'm a real estate agent. All right. So I'm constantly reaching out to you. That's the whole point of this, right? My database, everybody in my database, people that aren't even looking to buy or sell right now, they get a 36 touch because I want them to remember me as their agent when their friends and family say, hey, I want to sell this house, right? And to take it to the next step, whenever I have a client that calls me up, all they have to do is call me up and be like, hey, Nick, I just gave your number to somebody. They get a $25 Dunkin' Donuts gift card. I don't care if that person never calls me. They're getting it. I spend more money on Dunkin' Donuts gift cards than anything else that I do in real estate, right? You just you remembering me or thinking of me in a real estate transaction, I'm going to send you a $25 Dunkin' Donuts gift card. I don't know about you guys, but Dunkin' Donuts is like the key to life down here. So you get a Dunkin' Donuts gift card, like you're pretty stoked about it. And little tip too, you can customize the Dunkin' Donuts gift card and you can put your face on it, right? So my Dunkin' Donuts gift cards that I give these people, they're actually real estate business cards that have me and my wife on it, and thank you for the referral, and it's got our contact information, right? So it's a pretty creative, fun way that you can actually do it. So
Another bonus is it's a write-off.
It's a write, of course it's a write-off. It's an awesome write-off.
Can I
Right?
ask
We
a
always
quick
look for write-offs.
question? In regards to the biweekly emails, offering some type of information, if these people aren't, you know, specifically ready to sell or buy right now at this particular moment, what kind of information would you say, you know, is something that they'd be interested in, or, you know, would find even worth to open the email if maybe they're not at that place right this second?
Tips that you can fix your house, design features, you know, our magazine that goes out, it's like, you know, designer tips and landscaping tips and homeowner type of stuff. I mean, you can send that stuff out. I'm not going to lie. Some of my clients, they turn it off, which is cool. They're still going to get the phone calls from me. They're still going to get handwritten note cards. They're still going to get other stuff. They're going to get invited to stuff. So, you know, and the reason why I do a lot of everything and not just send out emails is because some people don't read their emails, right? Just like some people don't pick up the phone. Some people don't text. I've had clients that I've reached out to for 7 years, nothing. Don't respond to my text messages, phone calls, email, nothing. You know, and I'm like, I'll take this person out of my database. They must not like me. I don't know what I did wrong, right? And then I get a phone call. Hey, Nick, I got to sell my house and I want you to sell my house. Right? So that's why we do it all, because there's a bunch of different ways that we can connect with people, social media or whatever that might be. All right.
Nicholas, I have a question.
Sure.
What happens? How do you know if you're stepping on somebody else's territory in doing your leads?
Who cares if you're stepping on somebody's territory? We're all stepping on somebody's territory, right? I live in Warwick, Rhode Island. How many other real estate agents live in Warwick, Rhode Island?
Okay.
100. Right. Am I doing my job better than them?
Yeah, I didn't know.
If they think I'm stepping on their toes, then that means that I'm doing a better job than they are.
I thought I had seen something about if a real estate agent has sold so much in a certain area, then they're sort of claiming that area.
Absolutely not. No way.
Yeah.
No, okay. I've never heard of anything like that. I for many years had another real estate agent at Keller Williams. Both our kids went to the same school, and the goal for the two of us was to sell everybody's house.
Okay.
Right. So, you know, I got mad every once in a while. I told him one time, I said, hey, this is my street, stay off it. Right. But the reality is if he listed a house on that street, I'd be like, man, how did he get that over me, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, as far as I know, I've never heard of anything like that. I don't know if that's a regional thing, but I say go for it,
Okay.
right? There's nothing that, unless it's listed by another agent, there's nothing that restricts you from marketing to those people. And if it is listed with somebody else and you're inviting them to an open house, that's acceptable, at least in Rhode Island and Southern Massachusetts, right? You can invite them to an open house even if their house is listed. So, I would look to your local board and maybe talk to your team leader in the office and just ask them just to verify. But my opinion is that there's no such thing as that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions in regards to leads and contacts?
Yeah, I actually had a question. I know that you answered part of it before, but that's 19 touches for the average connect, right? The
So,
average person is going to connect with you
19
at
touches
19.
for people that you haven't talked to. So it's 19 touches until you talk to that person, and then you drop them into the 36 touch.
For
which
every
they're very
single
similar. They're very
contact
similar.
individually.
Yep. So if you meet a lead, you call them tomorrow, they don't answer, you send them an email, they don't respond to the email. You send them a direct mail, and then they call you back. Then that 19 to connect stops. All right. You have a conversation with them, get permission to continue to talk to them. Then they become a contact, and now you put them on a different program, which is a 36 touch.
Okay.
Hey,
Okay.
Nicholas, I heard that the smart plans only last 90 days. If you're doing 36 touches, is that for 12 months? Do you repeat your smart plans?
That question is way above my pay grade.
Okay. We're not talking 12-month here. We're doing standard smart plans. Yeah.
Yeah. Tim, can you answer that one? Or is
Tim
Aaron?
had to jump off, so
Aaron, could you answer that one? Are smart plans only, can you only set them up for 90 days?
yeah, so they I don't know if it's 90 days. You can repeat them. So you can, but after a while that you can only repeat them so many times. So I think it is 90-day increments. You can go back in and piggyback them for another 90 days. And the thought behind that is really that you're continuing to send customized value content, and that you're not just auto sending stuff to people. In the past we did that, right? Like we sent monthly emails that went forever, and we never really followed up or called people or texted them and stayed in touch. So I think the idea of the limit on that is really to sort of to keep us accountable as agents to get in touch. Like, am I providing value? Do you want to keep getting these emails? Or changing it up. If someone becomes an investor or somebody's looking now for a lake property, you can change up what they're getting.
And the 36 touch is designed around 90-day periods anyways.
Yeah.
Right. So one phone call every 90 days. So you could do 4 smart plans, all right, for 90 days each to cover the 36, and you could have each one be slightly different.
Yeah.
Right. Which is,
makes sense. Thanks.
Yep. And it's pretty easy to set up too. So, and what's great about Command is that the smart plans, people can share their smart plans. So agents from around the world have created incredible smart plans that are working, and then they just share it with you guys, which is
I'm
really
using
awesome.
some of Nick Baldwin's right now. He's got some good Facebook
Baldwin's
follow.
amazing, right? There are so many out there. It kind of gets overwhelming. I'm not going to lie. That's always how Keller Williams has been. There's always so much information. It's like, how do we pick, right? They're all great. So you got to spend a little bit of time doing a little bit of research, going through those and picking the ones that fit you. But it's great because Aaron and me, we're completely different real estate agents and coaches and everything, right? So we might want to send out completely different ones, right? Mine might be a little more wild and crazy. Aaron's might be a little prettier, right? I'm not sure where they're at, but everybody has the opportunity to kind of customize it and fit your profile. My clients in my database, they like to do a lot of similar things to me. They're outdoorsy, they like to party a little bit, right? So we like to do certain things. We like sports. So that's where mine are really driven from. So, you know, one of the things that I send out is I send out magnets that have food and wine pairing on it, right? Beer pairings, right? Like that's the type of stuff that we send out to our sphere. And that might not be the type of thing that you want to send out for your sphere. So, and that's what's really cool about it, the 36 touches, is you can kind of customize those. I never really thought about it, but it's pretty smart to have it just be 90 days. So that
Have you noticed the email signatures in smart plans? Mine are double spaced. I submitted a ticket and they said that's the way it is. You can't fix that. You can't fix spacing, but it's not a big deal, but it's not as aesthetically pleasing as a regular email with a perfect, email signature.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's something that you put a ticket in for and enough people, want to make that change, they will make that change. So, but it's not something that it's affected me, but unfortunately, what it happens is, I'll tell you guys, I have a graphic design background. When I got in this business, I used to spend so many hours designing and making all this stuff perfect. I finally had to let go, and I'm like, cut the cord. I'm like, nope, just let Command do it the way that Command does it, because the amount of time I'm going to trying to fix that spacing, for example, right? I could be on the phone lead generating, getting more buyers and sellers. So, it's not perfect, but unfortunately, if you're anal, I'm anal too. So that's, if I actually noticed it, it probably would bother me too.
Yeah, I try to forget my OCD. Makes sense. Thanks.
Yeah, it's hard.
And don't overthink that stuff. There's a little bit of done is better than perfect when it comes to this, because, the spacing in your signature, the person reading the email likely isn't going to labor over that. And then just back to the smart plans, I do think that there's the quarterly newsletter and there's a monthly newsletter now that you can do that those campaigns will go longer than 90 days. So there have been conversations around adding some of those items that will go for the whole year. And I do think they exist now, in the last month. They launched them at Family, I think.
Yeah, and that, once again, that's what's awesome about this ever evolving Command product that we use, is it's constantly getting better every single day. I know that Aaron, you've been using it since day one. I've been using it since day one. Day one was very different than where we are today, right?
Yes.
And a lot of agents are using it at an extremely high level right now. So, any other questions about leads and contacts before we jump into Command? All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump off of this screen. Give me 1 second here. We're going to go over to...
Nick, while you're doing that, I'm just going to put a disclaimer out there for the do not call registry. There's a lot of conversation in the chat around phone numbers and calling people, and we've been talking about lead generation. So we always want to make sure we have permission to have a conversation with someone, right? And if they're on the do not call registry, we're not going to call them. I believe it's a $42,000 fine.
Ooh.
So we really want to make sure that we're paying attention to that. I posted a link to a Google Drive folder that has some information. There's also some information on the Facebook group for that. NAR has a quiz. There's a video. There's all different kinds of ways to learn about that. You talk to your market center, but that is a federal law. So we want to make sure we're complying with that. So that is my, my little PSA on the do not call registry. And I think you're up and running, Nick, so you can go.
Aaron, thank you so much. That is the one part I was dreading having a conversation about today. So I'm glad that you just took that out of the way. So
nailed it.
Follow the do not call. Aaron, do you come on every day and say that?
We try to make sure that we're remembering to do that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We should record that and just play that. Okay, now I'm going to play Aaron really quick on the do not call list.
Yes.
So that was perfect. All right. So we are in Command. Can you guys see my screen now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, cool. Yes. Full disclosure, before I dive into this, right? I use Command, but I have an assistant that does majority of it for me. So, Aaron, I might have to pick on you for a minute here if I do get jammed up here.
I'll do my best.
I should be pretty good with this. And that's one of those things that's called leverage, right? Whenever I sit down with my agents, we sit down and we discuss their strengths and their weaknesses. One of my weaknesses is the technology stuff. So what do? I hired somebody and I put them in place, and I have systems in place to take care of that stuff for me, which is pretty cool. And that's something you guys can work towards as you build your careers. You find your strengths, your weaknesses, and you can put the pieces in place to really help you capitalize and take that to the next level. All right, so you guys are logged into Command. Does everybody know how to log into Command?
No.
No.
Aaron, do we have a link, or Hans, are you on here? Aaron, do we have a link that we can send people so that we can, like a tutorial on how to log into Command?
I can
Yes.
type it in.
Okay.
You need a
I can post that in the chat
oh,
right
the
now.
tutorial. Okay.
Okay. My assistant was supposed to be on here to take care of that for me when I needed him to. I'm not sure where he is.
I'm here.
Oh, you are there. Okay.
Yeah.
Hans, can you post in the chat the link that we have for adding contacts?
All right. That's
The
the
link
tutorial for Command.
from the onboarding email, please.
Okay.
All right. So once you guys are logged into Command, all right, you've got this incredible bar on the left side here that's going to be all your different pages that you can go to. They've got these cool, nifty little pictures. If you don't know what they are, you can either hover over them and it'll tell you exactly what it is, or you can just hit the KW in the top left corner and it'll open up the description of each of those. All right, so for today's session, and you guys, every single day, you're going to be diving into Command to some extent. And as new agents, I know that there's a lot here and it can be overwhelming. My suggestion is always to try and spend like 20 minutes if you can a day. You don't have to spend 2 hours every single day in Command, but if you can get in there for at least 2 hours, update a few of your contacts, and start to play with some of the tools, it's going to set you off in the right direction. And there are so many videos online. If you guys don't know how to do it, you guys can look up the videos and watch how to do it. Most of you guys probably have a tech coordinator you can reach out to. I'm sure this class is offered in your offices directly for this stuff. So there should be lots of resources for learning how to use Command.
You can also set up a test. You can just do, I call them just play contacts. I go in there and fight around and try different things, and it's not a real contact.
Yeah, almost everybody in this one that I'm in right now, they're all going to be fake people. So I create fake people all the time just for teaching purposes. But if you don't know how to do something, you can create a fake account, use your own email, or use another email that you have, and you can send stuff so you can see what the stuff actually looks like.
Nick, what link do you need again for the
link that brings them to the tutorials and videos on how to add contacts.
the one in the video and doc library?
No, the onboarding email that you send out to all our new agents, that link, the link in there that shows them how to add contacts to Command, unless Aaron already did it.
I didn't know if he was doing it. So
Oh, there I see how to add contacts. All right.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So what we're going to focus on once again today is contacts. So this little square over here with the little guy in it, contacts, we're going to click on that. All right. Now we are in our contacts. And full disclosure, Tuesday is typically the day that Keller Williams is working within Command. So if you guys are ever logged on to Command and there's ever issues, especially on a Tuesday, they could be doing updates. I feel like every time I teach Regional Ignite, I end up doing it on Tuesday. Hopefully we won't have any issues today. But there's a couple different ways that we can add contacts. So right now you can see, once you click on contacts, either you guys are going to have nobody or you're going to have your contacts that you've started to add. If you have not, there's a couple different ways that you can start to add your contacts. So the old school way, we're going to go over that first, and then we're going to talk about importing multiple contacts. So the old school way is this bar on the top right, add contacts. Okay, once we add the contact, we add their name. Once again, database, the more information we can put in here, the better. So I'm going to start off, let's see. We're going to add Han Solo. You may or may not have their email, but it's like I said, as much information as you possibly can add. That's great. I have a lot of agents, they say, you know, I don't have people's phone numbers or anything like that. Well, do you have their social media? Yes. If you have their social media, you can start adding them to the contacts, right? As long as you know their name, right, and you have some way of communicating with them, you can start adding them to contacts, right? So we're going to add Han Solo. I'm just going to put my email in there. We're going to add the name. If you know their phone number, you can add their phone number. Okay. Lead source type. Okay, this is where it came from. All right, so there's a couple different ways that you can add this. The first is from a certain list. So if you're doing any type of lead, maybe you're door knocking, right? You'll check select from list and you'll look up door knocking. All right, so there happens to be door knocking already there, but let's say they came from your running club. It's not going to be preloaded running club, but KW is pretty cool. They give you the opportunity to create your own lead source. So I'm going to do my running club, create custom source. All right, so that's been added. Okay, now maybe you want to, maybe they came from a contact that you already have. All right, you can click on contacts and then you can type in whoever that contact is. Maybe you were introduced from Princess Leia, right? And now, once again, you don't have to fill this out. It's just a good idea, once again, to put as much information as you possibly can. Okay. Now, where did they come from? All right. So command has what we talked about. We talked about leads and contacts broken down into two categories. So mark as a lead. If I have not talked to Han Solo yet, I'll mark him as a lead. If I have talked to him or I've already met him and I'm adding him to my database, then I would add him to my sales pipeline, which is somebody that you've already contacted, right? So we'll just say that I haven't contacted him yet. So we're going to mark him as a lead. All right. And then we have this really cool tool that I use for almost every single person. Well, actually, every single person that I add is tags. Okay. What type of category do I hold them under? Okay. So Han Solo is from Star Wars. So I've already created a custom tag for that. So I can just check that off there. Now, if you do not have, maybe you don't have that tag yet for that person, which tags that I use are family, right? So I've got a family one. If I'm going to send out an invitation to a family event, I use command, believe it or not. Everybody in my family is in my database, right? Because they're all close people in my sphere. So I don't have a tag for movie character. So just by typing it in, it doesn't pop up, but it gives me, once again, all right, just like the lead source, an opportunity to create a custom tag. And then I can also colorize it. So I add that there. And you can add multiple tags. So Han Solo, he's a movie character, but he's also in Star Wars. So I'm going to add him to both. Okay. Now I can just hit create right now, or I can start to add more information. Now, when you hit add information, you have additional contact info, right? Maybe other emails that they have, maybe a work phone number. Okay. Information about them, their birthday. All right. Why would we ask somebody their birthday or their home anniversary?
Send them a message.
Note.
Another touch, right? If you write somebody a handwritten birthday card, right? Do you think they're going to be impressed?
Yes.
When was the last time anybody got a handwritten birthday card? I don't think anybody's ever written me a handwritten birthday card, ever. Maybe since I was like 10, right? Super important stuff. Home anniversary, right? I don't write letters, but I shoot a text message out to them. Hey, happy anniversary, right? They love that stuff. It's just another opportunity to touch. and not reach out with a, hey, do you know anybody looking to buy, sell, invest in real estate? It's a, hey, congratulations on that incredible thing that you purchased that I helped you with, right? And it's a way to start a conversation. Hey, Nick, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. How's the house? You still loving it? We absolutely love the house. Hey, well, if you know anybody else that wants to find a house that they love as much as you do, please do keep me in mind. It's an easy text message, right? It's
Hey,
an
Nick,
easy touch.
do these things just pop up if like there's a birthday? Will that just pop up and say, hey, it's so-and-so's birthday? Or do you have to go through your contacts to see whose birthday it is?
If I customize the columns.
I am not 100% sure. I would assume that the birthday does come up, but I'm not 100% sure on that one.
You have to go into customize columns. I'm doing that right now. I just found that out through my tech guy at my my office.
So
if
you can definitely customize the columns, and then you can just click on birthday and it'll bring them up in order. So there are ways to do it, but I don't know that it announces, hey, it's this person's birthday.
It will if you set a task. You would have to set a task to it, like on that date to call them or something.
Okay.
If that's what you're asking. I don't know if I'm addressing the question, but so like say Nick's birthday is tomorrow and he's in my database and I want to remember to call him. I could set a reminder, a task for myself within Command to call Nick on the day of his birthday, and I could put that in. So when I open my tasks for the day, on my list of tasks, there will be a reminder there to call Nick because it's his birthday. So you do have to have a little, like, take an action around it and set a task. So you can do that when you're adding people in. You can add a task for yourself to call people or send a card or whatever.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So once again, you can do just about anything in here.
Yeah.
Right. And then you've got this custom section where you can add whatever fields that it is that you want to, which is pretty neat. Okay. So we're going to skip over that stuff. So we've added the basic contacts. We've added the tags. Now we hit create. Oh, of course, because I've already used that email before. So I'm going to hit close. I'm going to just change the email. I'll just take the email out. All right. So that's an important, I'm actually glad that happened. So you cannot have multiple contacts in here that have the exact same email. So if you have a husband and a wife that use the same email, one of them, you're going to have to make sure that they don't have an email in that slot, because otherwise it won't let you to create the contact. All right, we hit create. Of course, it's phone number. You can't have identical phone numbers either. Now we got it. All right, so now that contact has been added. Now where is it? We can look a couple different ways. We can come over here and we can search by their name. As you can see, I'm a big fan of Han Solo because I've got a lot of Han Solos in here. All right. Another way that we can look that up too is through filters. All right. So in really quick search, so you can look by first, last, email, address, or you can search everything. And then you also have filters, which filters are what I use majority of the time. All right. So for filters, I'm going to go over here to tags. And I can either scroll through them or I can just look them up. So maybe I want to contact everybody from Star Wars. So I'll type in Star Wars and then I'll hit apply. And now it brings up all my characters from Star Wars that I put that tag with. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yes.
Okay. Now, next thing I want to talk about, which we were just talking about, customized columns. All right, is smart views. So this right here, everything that we're looking at, so the name, the phone number, the email, the tags, and their address, this is mine. I custom made this, right? So all that information that we added, like birthdays and things like that, maybe I don't want to look at all that stuff on a daily basis. When I make my phone calls, I need their name, their phone number, right? Their email address, and maybe their primary address so that I can write them a handwritten note card after. And then my tags. right? So what we can do is you can switch this stuff around. You can go over to customize columns, which is going to customize what these columns are. So we hit customize, and you can add any of the columns that you've added. So, you know, I don't know why there's so many dog names. Geez, lots of dogs on there, right? But maybe I don't want to look at their address. That's not important to me right now. And I don't need their email address. Maybe I just want their primary phone and their tags, right? And I've got owner and assignee, so I'm going to uncheck those. I'm going to hit apply. And now it's just going to show me the information that I actually wanted to look at, right? Their name, their phone number, and then the tag source. All right. And then what I can do is if I want to save this so that it's the same every time I come back, I can come in here, go to Smart Foods, create a smart view, put this as.
And does this stay permanently, or do you have to do it every time?
If you save it, that's what I'm showing you right now. If you save it the way that I'm saving it, it's going to save just these columns, and then you can go in and you can save as many columns as you want, or I should say smart views as you want. And then every time you log in, I'll show you in a minute, you can actually pick it. So I'm going to put numbers and tags. And if I want this to be the default, the one that I look at every time I log in, I would hit this default button, which I don't want that to do right now. And I hit Save Smart View. So now, go back home. I'm going to show you, we're going to log back in. So we go into contacts.
All right. You have the whole Star Wars team.
And as you can see, I'm a big Star Wars nerd. As you can see, this is not the columns that I had before. All right, so if I want to just look at their phone number and their tags, come over here to my smart views, scroll down, numbers and tags, smart view, and then it pops up right here. Right, so maybe that's not the view I want to look at. Maybe I want to do Christmas addresses. Right, so this one just has the name and then their addresses. Right, so it's pretty cool. I like it because it gives you, you know, opportunities to customize it for different things that you're doing within Command. Now, majority of you guys, you're probably going to just use a standard, but when it comes Christmas time, if you're like, hey, I just need that quick Christmas list, I don't need all the other stuff on there, you know, addresses and names, you pull it up and then you just scroll through and you've got all their information. So this is a fake account, so I don't have a lot of addresses in there, but if I logged into my actual command that I use, every single contact has their address, and then I can run through it. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yep.
So it's just a feature to help you guys organize it. If you're anal retentive like me, then it makes it a little bit easier. But my all contacts view, this is where it's got all the information, right? So if I'm trying to do addresses or maybe I'm trying to look at other information in here, maybe I want to get rid of some of these columns, and you have the option to do that, right?
I just wanted to ask a question regarding the database. I noticed a lot of even my personal circle of influence, when I try to ask them for their own addresses to add it on command, they just become very taken back, and sometimes they don't even respond to my request, even though they are people that I personally know. How do I go around that?
Yep. So it sounds like you're doing it through social media or text message.
Text message.
Yeah, and that's going to be the disconnect there. So it's usually a lot easier to get their address when you're talking and having a conversation with them. When you're going through social media or text message, one of those platforms, typically they'll just jump right over the question. So how I approach it is there's a couple different ways. The first one is, you know, hey, Emma, nice talking to you. I'm trying to update my database and I realize I don't have your address. I'd like to send you my new business card. Right? Or I'd like to send you a Christmas card. if I try to get somebody's address because I want to send them a business card or I want to send them a Christmas card and they don't want to give it to me, I typically don't want to have them in my database. That's just me. But you know, a lot of times if you just say, hey, can I have your address? You know, it's like, you know, why do you want my address? So I always try to give them a reason. Hey, can I get your address? I just want to update my database and I want to send you my business card.
Okay.
Right. That's all I'm trying to do is just send you my business card. I'm just trying to send you a Christmas card. And if they don't want to give it to you at that point in time, like I said, it can be a challenge. If it's somebody that you've never, you know, if it's the first conversation you've ever had with somebody, you know, it's a lead, you call them and you say, hey, can I have your address, your phone number, your dog's name, your kid's name, right? It can be a little scary. It's like, no, I'm not giving you all that shit. I don't even know you, right? So try to get their basic information, their phone, maybe their email, work from there, and then we build on it, right? So part of building your database is I try to get my agents to get as many contacts in there as you can, right? And then we refine it, right? We go through it. I've got a couple agents that came from other companies. They came over, they had 15 or 3,000 agents or contacts in their database. And we're going through it, right? We're trying to get through those 3,000 agents, trying to weed through the junk that's in there and really refine it so we get to the people that are the most likely to buy and the most likely to refer us deals. So I hope that answers your question.
It does. Thank you.
Yep.
Nicholas, can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Okay, so with the birthdays, going back to that, I noticed when I entered, and if I don't have the year, it says that it's like 1900, so they're 120 years old or something. So it's not going to send anything out like happy 120th birthday or something, right?
I don't believe so. No, I think
Okay.
most of that stuff is pretty neutral,
All right.
right? So we're not celebrating their birthday and things like that. So yeah, that's very common for us not to know the year that somebody's born. So.
Okay, awesome.
All right, so we're going to go back. I'm going to show you guys once again how to find those people. So we're going to, oh, actually, you know what? I apologize. I want to show you how to import mass contacts now. All right, so I showed you the basic, you know, individual way to add them. And this is how we add them now. When we first started using Command, we imported about 200 names. And now every time I meet somebody or have a conversation with somebody, we add them this way by the old school way. And if you guys have lots of contacts, you want to add them, this is a smart way to do it. I try to get a lot of my new agents to do this. And how we do that is you hit this import button right here. And it's pretty simple. It gives you a download. And this is in Excel, so I'm not going to click it. But if you click on this, it's going to give you a download for an Excel file that you can add your contacts into. Just make sure when you guys are adding contacts into it, that you do not change any of the headings or spacing or where everything is, because once you try to import it, it will screw things up pretty badly. So make sure that you leave it the way it is. When they ask for a name, a number, just type it exactly what they're asking for. Don't add extra information because that'll screw you guys up there. And if you guys have other further questions about importing mass contacts, you can always reach out to your office tech coordinators and refer to some of the videos. I'm not going to dive too much into that today. Now we're going to go back. I want to show you our contacts. So we're going to go to filters and I'm going to look for Han Solo again. Star Wars. Apply. Now we've got our Star Wars characters. So I'm going to go with this first Han Solo because he's got the most amount of information. So now this is what it looks like when you go into your contacts, right? So once you've added them, you can edit it. You've got edit buttons that you can go and edit the information. Maybe you put the phone number wrong, or maybe you want to add their personal address. You don't have it yet. And you guys are going to learn a lot more over the coming weeks in regards to some other fun stuff that you can do within these contacts. But the main thing that I wanted to show you guys was this right-hand side, the timeline. All right, so the timeline is going to be connected to this individual client, Han Solo. And what's great about it is when you go in to do your lead generation, you click on Han Solo and you can see the timeline. You can see everything that has happened with that particular client, right? So you can see notes that I've added. All right, you can see smart plans that have been sent out. All right, so when you call Han Solo, say he's somebody in your sphere, right? You know what you talked about last conversation. All right, so in this, I sent an email asking if they're ready to buy. Okay, and the response, I add that to the notes as well. Waiting till end of April. So say the end of April comes up and I hit on Han Solo, or mid-April, and I read his notes. Oh man, that's right. He said the end of April he wants to buy, or he wants to do whatever it is. All right. Or maybe you had a conversation about, hockey, right? You called up Han Solo and he was like, yeah, the hockey season was great. We won the championship. Super excited for the next season to start. We're going to be starting a spring session. It starts in April. Right now, when you click on Han Solo, next time you call him or reach out to that person, all right, you remember that last conversation, right? It's like, oh yeah, hockey. So call him up. Hey, what's going on, Han? Haven't talked to you in a while. Last time we spoke, you were super excited about the hockey season, and you've got a spring season starting. Is that started yet? When's that starting? Right? Why is it important to start a conversation with information based off the last conversation?
Because it just brings familiarity and it makes you feel more like a friend than just a person trying to pitch him every time you talk to him.
Absolutely, and it shows that you pay attention, right? So emails that are sent out, you're going to see the emails there. As long as you have their emails connected in here, when you send them emails, the emails will pop up here, which is really great. If you wanted to add notes, this is the little spot to do it. Add a new note. You can add whatever that note is. Super, super powerful stuff. My agents that use Command at a high level, this is what I'm talking about, right? So that agent we talked about earlier, he put his contacts in and was making phone calls directly from Command. This is what he's doing, right? He's like, this is so easy. I've got all his contact information. I can send him an email directly from here. I can call him. I can send him text messages. I can see exactly what we talked about in one spot, which is
May I
really
ask you a quick question?
Sure.
Now, if Aaron answered this a little while ago, I apologize. Now, would this be where I put my task in to remind myself to give him a call early April or before
So
that?
see this little bar right here? You've got tasks. All right, add task. And you can put the date that you want to add it, and you can put what that task is.
Thank you.
Birthday reminder. So now that task is
Can
going to
you
show
please
up
repeat
on
that part again, please?
Say that again.
Can you please repeat that part on how to add a task?
Yep. So we're in the contact right now. And in the top right over here, you've got notes and tasks. They pretty much do the same thing. So we'll hit tasks. Oh, I'm already in tasks. So when you log in, you're in the timeline. All right, so just click on tasks. And it shows you the tasks that you have already set up. And if you've completed it, just check it off. Completed task.
Okay, so that's going to give me a little tickler somewhere that tells me, don't forget this, Robin.
Yep, I'll show you in a minute. Yep. And if you want to add another task, you just hit add task. Whatever that task is, the description of it, hit create, and then it creates that task. So if you go to the home page right here, you've got tasks right here. All right, so this is your list of tasks that you need to complete for every client. So every time you log in, this is the home page. First thing in your face is the tasks.
Now, do you suggest every time you add a contact to add a task to follow up with them rather than just an automated smart plan?
You can do both.
Okay.
Right? So you can absolutely do both. And we're not going to dive into all the details of smart plans, but I do want to show you where they are. We discussed it a little bit earlier, so I'll dive into that right now. So what we're going to do is you've got this little box over here with the lines and the little star. Hit smart plans. Okay. The first thing it's going to bring up is going to be your smart plan. So I've got a bunch in here already. You guys might not have any. So this would be empty. So what you can do is go to library. And this is where your brain's going to explode. Because right in this library, you've got hundreds and hundreds of smart plans that you guys can take advantage of. So one of the great ones that I think is awesome for you guys as brand new agents, and it's right up here, top rated, new to Keller Williams, new licensee. All right, so if any of you guys are new licensees, you can start using this immediately. This is the smart plan right here. It tells you the steps, the duration, and how many touches it is. All right, and if you want to see what they actually are, you click on view steps and it'll show you exactly what it is. All right, so send an email. And guess what? It tells you exactly what to email them. And it already sets it all up. All it does is it adds their name. You really don't have to do anything once you add it. All right, 3-day delay, text message, right? And if you guys have a Twilio account, which we're not going to talk about today, but if you guys have a Twilio account, you can send out text messages through command, right? So you can set that up so that it'll send an email and a text message automatically to every single person that you add to contacts. And then after day 6, it's a phone call. Once again, gives you the script, tells you exactly what to talk to those people about, which is pretty incredible. All right, so you click on it, you like it, or you don't, you hit cancel, but you like it, you hit add smart plan. Okay. This is a bundle, it's just telling you, it's fine. I already added it. It's not letting me add it because I already added it. But if I had not already added it, it would say download, you hit download, and then it's going to show up in my smart plans, which is right here on the top. All right, so just by hitting that button and adding it, now it's there forever. So let's tag out of here and it'll go back in. Now I hit my smart plans and it's right there, new to Keller Williams. Okay, and I can easily add somebody to it by hitting add contacts right here. So I just added Han Solo, so I'm going to add him. So I hit add contact. I'm going to look it up by tags, which is great. Star Wars.
Can I just ask, how do you change the color of tags?
So when you create the tag, that's when you have the opportunity to pick the color that you want.
Can you change ones that were previously created?
I'm sure there's a way to do it. I'm not sure how to change those.
Okay, I'll look into it. Thank you.
I'm not sure why Han Solo is not showing up here.
I have a quick question. As we're entering information into our contacts into the database, and say we want to do kind of like a trickle, say we get all of our, immediate sphere of people, and then we want to send them that initial email announcing our new adventure. Can we do that same email to another group of people as we get the next batch of people into the contact list, or should we just push through and do all the contacts in at one time and do it all at once? Does that make sense?
I think that it's very important. Like the first thing that I ask every single agent to do when they get their license is not to get on the phone. It's to take an MLS class and to create your database.
Okay.
Right. Once add as many people to your contacts as you can. Like the onboarding email, brand new agents that I send them, in that email is how to add contacts. Add contacts immediately, add them all if you can.
Okay.
And then you start right fresh from the beginning, and then you can send them, you can start them off on that email campaign.
Okay, great.
And you could add anything you want really to it. But the reality is you could add 20 people a week and then just run that, new to Keller Williams smart plan.
Okay, great.
It's customizable to you, what you guys want to do.
Okay, awesome. Thanks.
So any other questions about the command stuff that I can attempt to answer for you guys? Awesome. All right, back to the PowerPoint. All right, custom tags, smart views, interactions, smart plans. All right, now I want to talk just briefly about sales pipelines, and then we're going to get into some scripting. All right, so back to that lead generation model, right? We talked about lead generation database, right? Generating leads so that we can add them as leads to our database, turn them into actual contacts. Once they're contacts, then we want to cultivate them. Okay, so your sales pipeline, I mean, everybody has their own opinion. I really think the sales pipeline is that could be just about anybody or anybody looking to buy, sell, invest in the next 24 months. Okay. We want to cultivate those people. All right. And this is big. You close a deal. All right. Their contact, we're going to cultivate those people. Right. Because they're going to want to buy, or they're going to know somebody looking to buy, sell, invest in the future. Right. And that's the power of the database. And that's the power of smart plans. Right. So we add their contact information. All right. To command. All right. Into that database. Now it's there. Now we have to do those touches. Whether they just bought a house, they have no interest in buying a house or whatnot, because the ultimate reality is like we said earlier, the average person knows 7 to 10 people looking to buy, sell, invest in real estate in the next year, right? So we want to get business from them, and how we do that is cultivating, okay? And that's why we have these smart plans for different people, right? So if I just closed on a house, I'm not going to send them a smart plan tips on how to buy a house. Right? That's when I'm going to change it up, and I'm going to change their smart plan so that I'm sending them maybe tips to, repairing your house. Right? In the fall, I love to send out a newsletter to all my clients that's tips for preparing your house for winter. Right? In the spring, little tips for how you can, spruce up the yard and things like that. So there's a lot of different creative stuff you can do. And really, it's endless, the amount of stuff that you guys can do when it comes to your sales pipeline. The ultimate goal for those leads and those contacts, right, is to cultivate them into an appointment. All right. A buyer's appointment, a listing appointment, sign the contract so that then they are an active client trying to sell, or maybe both. All right. Get them under contract and then close. All right. So that is the lead generation diagram, right, from start to finish. Lead generation into database, into sales pipeline with cultivation, which leads to a closed deal. Do you guys have any questions in regards to how we lead generate, why we lead generate?
I have a question on the touches.
Erin, is that you that has a question?
Yes. No, well, I don't have a question. I just wanted to, I'm getting some private messages that people might need a little break. So maybe after the questions, we could take a 10-minute break.
Yeah, sure. If anybody has any questions, otherwise we'll take a 10-minute break and then we'll dive into it. I'm sorry, I'm like a machine. I just keep going.
No, I do the same thing when I'm teaching too. Like, it's like 3 hours. Let's go.
Yeah. So I apologize. I meant to say this at the beginning. If anybody needs to run and go to the bathroom or take a break, just let us know. But yeah, so yeah, okay. Right now it doesn't look like we have any questions unless anybody.
I have a question.
Sure.
Ruby Reyes from Boston Metro. My question is, once we create a smart plan and we add their tags and we have contacts under that smart plan, how do we know what, like these winter letters on how to get ready, how do we know what is being sent to them? And like, how do we choose what gets sent to them on those 19 touches once they're in a smart plan?
So I'm going to dive back into command and I'll show you. But if anybody, like I said, if anybody wants to take a break right now, feel free. I'll be here just, answering any general questions you guys have. So let's dive back into command. So I'm going to go back to the library. So we'll just do this 8x8 new contact engagement, right? So if you want to view those steps, all you have to do is the bottom left corner, it says view steps. Okay. And then it shows you what the steps are if you scroll down. And then if you hover over them, it says exactly what it's going to say to your clients. All right. So
I guess what I mean is, for example, the winter letter that you send for how to get ready for winter. How would we see that that detail is not listed in the steps?
So that's the one that I was talking about. That's something that I actually send out physically in the mail. So that's something that you would create. I'm not sure what they have for I don't do a lot with mailers.
There is different ones that you can like create the steps yourself for the mailer one.
Yeah, you can create your own steps. I gotta try and find one of these that has a physical mailer in it.
I think there's also a way to edit a smart plan. I remember I saw it somewhere way back, but I don't know how exactly to get in there.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure how to edit them. I know that my assistant, he edits some of them and creates some of them. So I would probably reach out to your tech coordinator and ask them to, show you how to do that. Or I'm sure there's a million videos on how to do it as well. I apologize. I'm not that versed in smart plans to know how to edit them. But I want to try and find one that's, let me see.
I guess what I meant is how do we decide what content gets sent to them? Like if you have a tag for dogs because they have dogs, and we can send them a letter that has to do with puppies or something. Like how do we decide what content gets sent?
Okay, so that's completely up to you, right? So like I was talking about earlier, the events that I do, the letters that I send, the stuff I send in the mail is based on a lot of my clientele. The reality is that I send stuff out on a regular basis. I send out baseball schedules to people that don't even watch baseball, right? And they get it, they see my face, and they probably throw it in the trash, which is fine because I still had the touch. They got it in the mail, they opened it, they looked at it, they saw me, they recognized me, and then they move on. Other clients, they take it and they put it on the fridge, right? I've been introduced to people as this is the guy on my refrigerator, right? Just because I send out a lot of stuff. So some people take it, some people don't. There's no way that you're going to create a marketing plan that's going to hit every single person, right? Like sometimes we do recipes and we do all kinds of stuff like that. Well, I have clients that don't cook, right? They might put my magnet on the fridge, right? The baseball magnet because they're Red Sox fans, but they're not going to put the magnet on the fridge that has tips for cooking.
So
right?
I'm sorry if I sound repetitive, but even if the content of your marketing is not really related to real estate, you still send it basically and you put your logo on it?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Can you do that on a paid ad?
Yeah, I mean, there are ways to do just about anything, right? So I don't want to just hammer my clients with real estate because the average person lives in their house for 10 years. Do I want to haunt them on how to prepare their house to sell for the next 10 years? No. So I try to mix it up and, maybe I'll send them a baseball schedule. Maybe they like baseball, maybe, cooking tips. I just try to send them other information, right? If I hear about anything, so National Grid here was doing free Bluetooth thermostats for a while. And I called every single client that I had and said, hey, I just got this free Bluetooth, thermostat. And it's great. And I just wanted to let you know about it. I reached out to everybody this year in regards to interest rates. Hey, interest rates are super low right now. What, do you know what what you purchased your house at, what rate you were at? Oh, I'm at 4.5. Great. You can cut that in half. So I try to give them just a variety of stuff, right? So like the client appreciation party, I've got some clients that are probably not going to go and get a family portrait. But if I hold it at a brewery or a bowling alley, they're going to come to it. So, that's why we try to diversify and have a lot of different marketing techniques and tools that we use and kind of mix it up as much as we can. So, but if you're a dog lover and you work at a dog rescue and you've got a lot of contacts that rescue dogs, then yeah, gear it around that. It works, right? Some people go with politics, some people go with other stuff. There's all kinds of different avenues that people go. I try to avoid politics personally and religion as much as I can when it comes to sales stuff. But some people, I know an agent that thrives on it, right? Using politics is the basis for their marketing. So to say that something doesn't work, it's impossible. And that's what's great about real estate is that it doesn't matter what type of person you are, what type of personality you are. You can find a way if you put enough time and effort into it and you try enough different methods to be successful in real estate.
So, and I want to just jump on what you're saying, Nick, and say that like we're in the relationship business. So we just happen to sell real estate, right? We don't want to be like punching everyone in the face every day with real estate. Like I sell real estate. You are human. You have interests just like all the people that we work with, right? So you want to have a relationship with them around that stuff, whether it's dogs or cooking or running or anything else. The more that you can find that common interest or common thing to talk about, you're bringing value to them through something. The easier the conversations are going to be, right? And they all lead to real estate. I know it seems really hard to believe, but once you get comfortable talking about real estate, it will come up in every conversation you have for the rest of your life. So just don't overthink it. Be a human, caring about humans, and it will and be consistent in your business, and it will start to get easier.
Yeah, everybody needs a place to live. That's
Yeah.
what's cool about our business, right?
Yeah.
And it's exciting, right? Before I got into real estate, I was an engineer. All right. I was a cathodic protection engineer. What does
I don't
that
even
mean?
know what that means.
I prevented metal from rusting.
Awesome.
You don't want to talk about that more, Aaron? No, and not at all.
I want
right?
to talk about houses.
Now I'm a real estate agent. What do? I sell real estate. Oh, wow. Everybody has a place to live. It's exciting. Everybody thinks that realtors are like these super fancy rich people. I mean, people like having conversations with us. So it's very easy. Just drop it, and it usually comes out at some point in time, and it's always a good conversation. It's fun. And if you don't like talking about real estate, then this probably isn't the industry for you.
Yeah.
That's all we're doing.
So glad you said it. Yes, there's always Kohl's. They have a whole bunch of unfolded
Yeah.
T-shirts at Kohl's. Yes.
Yeah.
Nick,
It's
I have
like
a quick question.
balance, right? Between being like a realtor and being a human, right? Like just find the sweet spot and the business will come.
Absolutely. Somebody had a question?
Yeah, Nick, that's me, Brian Gallagher. How are you?
Yeah.
So my wife and I were former business owners. We just recently sold our business that we had for 13 years. And we had a customer base of over 12,000 clients, which we've all moved over to like social media. And it was a dog grooming business, but we expanded it into rescue for the past, I think it's 9 years now. So it's a nonprofit rescue, which has a following of over 12,000 on Facebook. So I kind of want to tap into that platform right there. What are your thoughts as far as like kind of saying, kind of not only introducing myself into the market, but also kind of offering a commission, part of my commission going to?
I was just going to say that. So what I would do is, and I've done this before, my daughter's dance studio, which is very similar. You can do the exact same thing. Similar presence, or not the similar business, obviously.
How did you structure that?
So what you could do is you could just tell people that, and I do it at the baseball field. I do it everywhere. If you end up purchasing a house through me and you mention this charity, I'll donate $500 of my commission to the baseball field, to the dance studio. And it doesn't have to be 500. It could be 100 or $50 or $200, whatever that might be. But it gives them an incentive to help you, but then also help whatever that charitable event or company might be. Right? So that's something that you could do. You could do it in the form of a flyer, a social media post, or something like that. Every house that we sell, we donate a certain amount of money towards this certain charity.
All right, and the great part about this too is that my wife and I, we own 2 homes. Our other home has a cottage on it that we built for rescue dogs as well. And a lot of the rescue is done there. So a lot of times the adopters will come to the actual facility and, so we can actually have a conversation. So I get to have this conversation with people one-on-one, which, I get that personal interaction with them as well. So it's literally coming from Facebook page and coming live in our space.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Nice.
I mean, there's so many opportunities for you to bring up that you're selling real estate, and and it's a way for you to help give back to the community in multiple different ways, as well as giving back a charitable contribution to whatever rescues it is that are important to those particular people.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. I would, if you have some sort of niche like that already, run with it, right? I have an agent right now. He drives me crazy. He's a professional boxer, right? And he has not put the two together. I'm like, dude, you need to be doing something incredible that has to do with you boxing and knocking out the competition or whatever that might be. Take advantage of those things. If you already have that, absolutely. You already got a sphere of people, you can reach out to them and let them know. You could send them an email coming from you, and you guys own the business, so you really have the freedom to do whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
And if you're tying it to some sort of charitable event like that, it makes it, significantly more acceptable than harassing everybody that has had their dogs groomed with you guys over the last couple of years. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yep. Makes sense.
It's the same premises as an open house, all right, and door knocking. It's really hard to knock on a door when you're not inviting them to something. But when you're inviting them to an open house, it's just so much easier to go bang on that door. Hey, what's going on? Not trying to harass you. Just want to invite you to my open house. Right? So it's like, hey, not trying to harass you. Just wanted to let you know about this opportunity to make money for the local dog kennel. And you will get business because of it, guaranteed.
Nick, it's so true. Most people struggle with doing any sort of prospecting because their perceived lack of value when they're picking up the phone or they're approaching the front door. So if we can take that mindset and erase lead generation and change it to lead invitation, right? I'm offering you an opportunity to join me at X, Y, or Z. Changes the way we approach people when we're grabbing the phone or knocking on their door.
Exactly. Right.
My name's Bethany. Do you see any problem with using like a past, like in my past sales role, I have a lot of client contacts. It was more for like the hospitality industry, but reaching out to them and just introducing my new role. I plan on really focusing on those that I had a good business relationship with. But do you see a problem using those business contacts from an old company?
I don't want to speak for every office on this standpoint, but my agents, I typically encourage them to, why not, to reach out to them. They're contacts that you had that trusted you in a different industry, and it's not the same. It's not like it's not like you were selling houses for a big company and now you're calling all their clients. But I think it's the individual based on that particular client you work for. But for the most part, I encourage, I've got agents that are, I've got an agent that has a massage business, and I had her reach out to every single person that she ever did a massage for. And we never had any issues with it. So I've got other people, a lot of people come into real estate, it's their second career. And if you've got a database that you can work with, why not reach out to them, especially if you already have a relationship with those people? So that's my opinion, but I would check with your office on that one just to make sure.
Okay.
So Tim, I really blew past the time here. What should I focus on now? Should I do scripts and then get on the phones, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think we jump into scripts.
Okay. All right. Do we have a method for breakout sessions?
Yeah, I can put us in breakout rooms.
Okay. All right. So what we're going to do right now is we want to dive into scripts. Okay. So scripts are here. I'm going to do scripts and then we'll go back to that. So scripts are incredibly important. Should I talk about this first or go into scripts? Aaron made a face.
No, you know why? Because I'm so
I don't want people to check out either.
I'm not making a face at you. So there are people who were so compelled by the information that you were sharing that they did not take the break. Do you want to just keep going, or do we want to actually turn our screens off for 5 minutes and everybody take a break? Can I see a thumbs up if you need a break? Okay, so let's take 5 minutes and we'll do a break. That will give us a chance to pull the scripts up. I'll post the things. We'll get the breakout rooms set up and you guys can take a 5-minute break.
All right, you got to kind of control me a little bit, Aaron. Sometimes I
Well,
get out
that's
of
why I'm making faces because people are still private messaging me like, I need a break. I need a break.
All right, I will stop. I will stop information giving right now for 5 minutes.
Just hard stop, Nick.
And I see the number dropping, so please come back. We're gonna have cake.
Yes,
Come
With the
back.
promise
Come
and
back.
bacon. Yeah,
We're
come
gonna
back for
send
cake.
cake to your office.
Yeah.
Tim made the cake last
free
night.
cake.
Yeah.
Tim is a baker. He
Okay.
made the cakes last night and has everybody's addresses, and they're individually going to be dropped off by Tim.
We are speaking for Jen Bovey, Aaron, myself, Nick, and any other coaches that are in the room right now. For you to leave now before there's an opportunity to take all the knowledge Nicholas gave you this morning and not implement it into a script session and then some phone calls would be missing the point. And we don't want you to miss the point or the activity of getting some business. So please come back in 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Said with love.
And we're stopping hard at 12.
Yes.
Okay. So it won't be that bad, guys.
No, we can do it.
I'm walking
Aaron,
around.
I have a quick question. So I actually did take a break. I walked away and went and did
that's fine.
something else. So this is recorded, right? So I can see what I missed.
Yes.
Evidently, I must have missed some valuable information in those 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nick just kept going. He's on a roll. He's just gonna keep rolling. So
I'm leaving the room right now.
Yeah.
That's
Calling me back.
cool.
I'm like, do I need to come back? No, I'm leaving the room right now. I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Walk away, man.
Yeah,
Walk
Nicole on the
away.
break. Nick gave a car away. You missed it.
Oh, see?
You could have been a winner.
Rewind.
Oh my
Okay, next time not walking away when they say break.
Yeah.
See, I am a dancer, so sitting still drives me crazy. So I had to move around. When he said break, I was like, I'm out of here. Let's take a little walk. Okay, cool. But this is great. I'm getting great ideas. Thank you. So I'll let you guys go and take a break as well.
Tomorrow on our first break, we're giving away a trip to Maui. So, you know,
I'll be-
it's up to you. Yeah.
I'm gluing myself to my seat.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right. So if we have like 90-ish people, how many breakout rooms do we need, Tim?
I'd go by 4. Like I'd do 4s.
All right.
Because yesterday I was in a room with Tim Greer and one other person who eventually joined us, but stayed black screen, no mic for a bit.
Yeah, I was by myself, had to come back to the main room and then go out again. So that'll be 20, 22. Okay.
Can someone experienced help me with the question that I have?
Sure.
So someone just texted me saying, hey, can you send my friend houses in the Rhode Island area? This is his email. I don't have a full name. I don't have a price range. I don't have single family or multifamily.
Yep.
And most importantly, I don't have access to homes in Rhode Island on my MLS. How would you go about
I
it?
do. My name's Justin Piet at Leading Edge.
I love it.
And Justin also does charcoal peels and hair care. So you want to get in touch with him for sure.
I do. I actually do.
I know. I heard you
Word.
earlier. I look forward to it. So that being said, I would connect with Justin, and then ultimately it's your opportunity. So is this a civilian that is looking for help, Ruby?
Yes.
Yeah. So Justin is going to, and he said that he'd absolutely be thrilled to do it. Justin would offer you a referral for the opportunity. So you're
I
going to
just
connect.
put my email in the chat box.
You're going to connect your
Justin, it only
civilian
went to
human.
me.
Oh,
You're going to connect your civilian human to Justin, and make sure that when Justin connects with this person, that you guys get the proper paperwork, actually all digital now through referrals, through command, that Justin can thank you for the opportunity to help your friend.
Okay, Justin, can you throw it in the chat? Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it right now, dear.
Aaron just did. Thank
Yeah,
you.
he sent it just to me.
Sorry, I didn't realize I sent it.
Yeah, that's
Like-
okay. It's just because that was the last message.
Justin, where is your spa? Aaron and I are coming down for a scrub.
I actually stopped taking clients a while ago. I'm a national educator and the director of education for Tony and Guy, Rhode Island. So I pretty much train teachers and oversee all the education within the school.
Very cool. Well, welcome to Keller Williams.
Thank
Justin
you very
actually
much.
does my hair.
Justin's being polite. He's like, I didn't touch.
I'm like,
that."
I don't know.
I'm not.
He's like, I didn't do that mess.
Listen, sometimes you claim it and sometimes you don't.
That's not my handiwork.
My goal is actually, I would like to open up a Solar Studios and like a small chain of salons eventually at some point in time. So that's actually why I got into real estate. I want to own a home. I want to have something to give down to my nephews and nieces. I don't have any kids. So eventually I would like to invest in helping stylists who this pandemic's really affected us in a lot of ways. So a lot of people, unfortunately, are selling or looking at newer areas, maybe a little bit smaller. So my goal is really to use that career to kind of build off of.
That's awesome. Service first, Justin.
Yeah. Well, I love what you guys do. My barber in Northwood, New Hampshire sees me every week, 6:20 every Friday afternoon.
And you want to know what? I bet you he absolutely loves and appreciates you for that. There's nothing better than a repeat client.
I'll happily speak for Adam. I don't think he loves and appreciates me, but I still get my haircut every week. Yeah. Everybody's like, you don't need a haircut. It looks fine. I'm like, that's because I get it cut every 167 and a half hours. That's why.
I'd be paying my barber at least $50 just out of appreciation. So I'm sure he appreciates it every week.
Yeah, no, it's cathartic. It reminds me that it's Friday.
Yeah, exactly.
Not this guy again. Jeez.
Yeah, right. Oh, Lindsay, he never shuts up.
Which is a good thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Do I get the green light to rock and roll now?
We can rock and roll.
And go.
All right, cool. So the next thing we want to talk about, which is incredibly important, is everybody's daily homework, right? And that's why we want you guys to stay, because this is stuff that we're going to work on a little bit here right now. All right, we've got this thing called your daily 10-4. Okay. And what we're going to do is every single day, we need to add 10 contacts to our database. We talked about the importance of it, building that database. You guys in command, our goal is for everybody to add 10 or more contacts every single day to that database, so that when you're done with Ignite 2.0, you guys can rock and roll with your lead generation daily, right? We want you to replace the time you're here with that lead generation. Database is key to that. We also want you to have 10 conversations a day, right? 10 conversations about real estate, whether on the phone, okay, in person. Nowadays, I'm okay with a social media conversation or a text message conversation, as long as in that conversation, they respond to you and you ask the question, who do you know looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Okay, so whether it's in person, phone, text message, as long as you have a conversation, which means you guys go back and forth, not a, hey, it's Nick from Keller Williams, and you get no response, that does not count, right? As long as you have a conversation and you add in there, who do you know looking to buy, sell, invest in real estate, that counts as a conversation, at least in my eyes. Okay, I would love for you guys to write 10 handwritten note cards. Back to our conversation earlier, every single person I talk to, they get a handwritten note card. The power of that is that you have a conversation with somebody about real estate, and then you end that conversation, and your plan is to call them in 3 months, right? Now, over the weekend, they run into a colleague that wants to buy real estate, and they bring it up, and they forget about the conversation that they just had with me a couple days earlier. But then later that day, when they get home, they get a handwritten note card in the mail with that business card. And it's a reminder, hey, you know what? I just talked to this person about it. Maybe I should give them their card, right? It works. It's powerful. It's an amazing thing. Handwritten note cards are amazing. I've done it my whole career, and I will continue to do it my whole career. And then, of course, we want you to preview 10 houses a week. Why do we want you guys to look at 10 houses a week?
You know the market.
To get, absolutely, get to know the market. How do we look at 10 houses if we don't have buyers and sellers? All right, open houses, right? If you're driving around over the weekend, you see open houses, stop in, introduce yourself. Hey, my name is Nick from Keller Williams. Just wanted to check it out, was in the neighborhood. The realtor's going to have no problem letting you in. Another way that you can do it as well is if you have a particular property you want to go take a look at, you can reach out to that agent, say, hey, listen, I saw that you have this listed. If you have any showings, I'd like to, maybe piggyback and just run through it really quick. I might have a buyer interested, but I want to look at it first. And
So
that's the way that
Nicholas, you don't think people would mind if you all of a sudden see an open house sign and you just go in? You don't think they're gonna say to you, sorry, you need an appointment?
It depends on that particular open house, but for the most part, at least here in Southern Rhode Island, it's, a lot of people are not doing dedicated. Some people are, some people are not. It's worth an ask. Can't hurt. If they have open house signs up, so this is the deal. If they have open house signs out on the main road bringing you in, then typically that means that you can go right in.
Okay.
If they don't have open house signs, then it's typically an indication that that open house is specifically time blocked out.
Well, they would probably have the open house sign outside of the house just so the people coming in would know which house.
Maybe I don't do that. I'll have open houses and I just have my for sale sign outside because I don't want to attract extra people in those situations. Unless I do want people to come off the street, which, to be honest, is the main reason we do open houses, other than to group showings together in one little.
Okay, right.
Do
So
you mind
you
if
would
I
just
make
have
a
a for sale
comment on that
sign.
real quick?
Sure.
Say that again.
So, do you mind if I make a comment on that real quick?
Sure.
So with my experience, obviously I've only done a few in the last few weeks, but with COVID and everything, usually the seller wants to make sure every single prospective buyer is pre-approved before they even come into the house, obviously due to the higher risk of COVID transmission. So in Massachusetts, a lot of places aren't allowing, just open houses where you walk in. You usually have to schedule it. So
If
that's
you
something
have
to
a
look
real
out.
estate, if you have a real estate business card, then that basically counts as a pre-approval.
Okay.
So they typically will let a real estate agent in over somebody that's not, somebody that just walks out the street that's not approved. But
All right, I
once
wasn't
again, it
sure
depends on, there's a lot of things, we have realtors that do it every way possible here in Rhode Island. Sometimes you have to wait in line for 2 hours just to get into a property. It could be an open house like that. So, but, another way that you can do it, if you guys are struggling to get into these open houses, get on MLS, guys. If you're not on MLS every single day, once again, real estate's probably not the thing for you. It's not the career for you. Go on your MLS and look up the $1 million homes. Right, it's a lot of fun. Go in a particular neighborhood. My wife, she's obsessed with MLS. She goes on MLS every single day and looks at every single listing that comes on the market in the entire state of Rhode Island, right? Every single day, because you never know when you have a client that maybe fits into a category in a different location that they're not looking. She might see a house in a different area and say, hey, this would be perfect for this person, but it's in a different area than they want to look at. And then we'll send them a text message, and we sell houses like that sometimes. So,
well, Nick, great point too. Your wife wants to be a student of the industry, and your wife wants to be the local expert. Ask yourself, if you had a white cotton bag full of money and you wanted to invest it, and you had a friend who was in finance, and you asked him, how's the market? And he's like, I haven't really looked at the Dow Jones today. How would you feel? Would you hand him the white cotton bag full of money, or her the money? They're like, definitely, you should definitely invest this poorly on my behalf for my family. Or would you be looking for the person that says, you know what you should be looking at? Johnson & Johnson's working with the smaller company to get the thing done, and they're really unknown. And if you jump in now, like, they have all the intel because they're looking at it every day. So the fact that your wife is looking at it every day just to see what's new, to understand it. And it's super important. And we answered this question yesterday. People are like, well, with COVID in my part of New England, people aren't doing open houses. Then go in, as we said yesterday, and look at 10 homes, to the extent that if I asked you a question about any of those 10 homes, you could answer it. Not just like, I know it's blue, like more than that. Can you speak to it as my advisor when it comes to real estate?
There's nothing more powerful than when you do a listing presentation and they say, my neighbor's house down the street sold, and you say, yeah, I know, I was there. I saw it. Right? Credibility. And that's one of the big things people are looking for. Credibility and communication. Those are pretty huge when you have appointments. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to take a little bit of time. I want to jump into scripts. So Erin, did you add the script book to the contact
I did.
The chat?
It's in the chat. Yep.
All right. If everybody, go ahead.
I'm just gonna make Tim the host because my
Mm.
my lights keep flickering. I'm afraid I'm gonna lose power, so he can do the breakout rooms.
Oh, New Hampshire, they just got electricity and they might lose it now.
Oh my
It's a
God.
tough town, kid. Tough town. So I'm doing the breakouts. Did you set that up? I'm just
I
So-
did. They're set
so
up.
So if everybody could go into the chat and download the script book. All right, that's the Spark script book. So we're going to download that. What I'd like you guys to do is the first script in that book is the Ford method, and I'd like you guys to use that.
All right, I know that one.
I'm going to open it up on my screen just so I can show it to you guys.
There's a word, yeah, okay.
We're doing 9 rooms. It's going to put about 8 or 9 of us in each room. And we are gonna, how long do we want to go with this, Aaron and Nick?
I would say let's maybe do it for 10 minutes. That leaves us 20 minutes to
Come back and
hammer
rehash.
some phone calls.
Sure. Okay.
Right. So as many of you guys as you possibly can in the next 10 minutes, I want you guys to take turns in your breakout rooms, and I want you to read through the new to real estate, the Ford method. Okay. And you guys, I believe you guys are going to learn more about the Ford method over the next few weeks. This is a incredible script. You can use it with anybody. And the whole point of this conversation is at some point in time to have real estate come up. So we start the Ford method, F-O-R-D. F stands for family. How's the family doing? Family's great. What about yours, right? How's work? Are you still working? Especially with COVID, this is a very easy one. How's work? Everything going with that, right? Typically, when we ask that question, they say, well, what about you? Well, actually, that's interesting you asked that. I just started a career in real estate. Okay. And then R is recreation. What have you been up to? What are you doing? And then D is dreams. What is something you look forward to doing when COVID is over? All right. So let's dive into that script right now. I want you guys to practice it and see where it takes you guys. And we'll meet you guys back here in 10 minutes at 11:40. So you should have a box in front of your page right now to join that room. All right, it looks like everybody's starting to come back now. How did that script practice go?
Getting
Great.
easier, better each day.
Cool.
Did anybody struggle?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was a little uncomfortable, but I think the more we do it, the more familiar we'll be with it.
If you're not struggling with scripting, especially if you're brand new to sales or real estate, then you're not human, right? So the session that I was in, we just talked about it, right? Practice makes perfect, right? Michael Jordan practiced 6 to 10 hours a day just so he could play a 1-hour basketball game, right? And that's exactly what scripting is, right? I script with my kids still. I've been in the business for 12 plus years, sold hundreds of properties, and I still script on a regular basis. I script with my kids, right? I've got a 9 and a 13-year-old, and we script all the time. And it's fun because I never know what's going to come out of their mouths, right? But it's practice for me, right? Practice, practice, practice. We will end up practicing, all right, majority of the time, so that when it comes to that point, when we have a buyer seller in front of us, we're on our A game. And that's why we have you guys scripting here every day. That's why we practice. We want you guys to make mistakes, right? Make the mistakes with us, right? So that when you're out in the real world, you guys can really excel with it. So I think what time it is now, 11:42. We've got 18 minutes. What I want you guys to do right now is go live. I want you to get on the phones, all right? I want you to call everyone you know that you possibly can in the next 18 minutes and use the Ford method that we just went over, okay? And see who they know looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. Okay.
Can I ask a quick question about the Facebook group? Do we have a Facebook group, and is this are the scripts and stuff going to be in there?
Yes.
And we will answer that question thoroughly as soon as we come back.
Yeah.
Right now, I want everybody on the phone. Pick up the phone. Ask who you know looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate.
And,
Right?
and
The
because,
Ford method.
because
Wait,
we
what if
want to
you
make sure
already did it?
everyone's private, leave your screen on and mute your camera.
Yep. Mute yourself and get on the phones right now. If you already did it, do it again. This is our job, guys. Lead generation, getting on the phone, talking to people. If you don't know who to call right now, call your spouse, right? Call your mother, call your children, call your best friend. If you need a script to use, say I'm in a class right now and my instructor is making me call everybody I know to ask them who they know looking to buy, sell, invest in real estate. Blame it on me. Whatever you're gonna do, get on the phone.
They say no questions, a stupid question, but I'm watching this on my phone. So therefore,
So you
I'll have to
can,
leave
you
that
can
on
mute
that,
it.
right?
You can mute it. This is the last question I'm going to answer. You guys get on the phone. Mute it. All right. And call. You should be able to make a phone call at the same time that you're on a Zoom.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you.
Nick, we got about 8 minutes left to get some ahas and some feedback from the kids. See what people got.
Emma says that was nerve wracking.
Oh, I like that. Good.
But
Excellent.
she
Welcome.
did it. And
Yes.
you lived.
Yes.
You lived to tell the tale.
It's ignited
lived.
Keller Williams. So it's like an OSHA sign behind me. 0 deaths this week. 2 days in, nobody's died, which is really good. Very exciting.
The hardest phone call is the first phone call, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Once you get through that one, it gets easier and easier, right?
the
And
Band-Aid.
remember too, that every phone call you make is one phone call, one conversation closer to the next buyer or seller or investor that you're going to get. So, and I promise you it works.
And Nick makes a great point too. If you can make that first phone call just a practice swing, if you just open up every day and I mean, you could do a full day of gratitude calls, but just making the first phone call a gratitude phone call. Like if Nick and I played Little League together and I'm driving past the field, I call and be like, hey, I was just thinking about you driving past the field we used to play ball at. How are you? How's the family? Right. That organic forward conversation is going to kick in and you're just checking in with somebody and it puts some wind in your sails. And then you can start to make more purposeful sale calls. But all of them ultimately are organically nurturing phone calls. Real estate's going to come up. Interest is garnered and you take it from there.
All right. Any success, any scary stories, anything crazy happen? Anything awesome happen?
Yeah, a little bit of success. I just reminded myself that I have like 3 friends that are getting married this summer. And so went through contact, hit him up, and he's like, yeah, I'm actually looking for to buy a condo in Boston. So he's like, didn't know you're in real estate. Let's do it.
Awesome.
Ding, 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 ding.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Right? That's what it's all about, right? You put yourself in a position to let people know you're a real estate agent. People are afraid. They like to be secret agents, right? They're afraid to let people know they're real estate agents. All you got to do is just call them up. The Ford method's great. I use it all the time just to touch base with people and remind them that you're in real estate, right? It's a powerful thing. Picking up the phone is a powerful
I
thing.
had an episode where I had 2 no answers because they probably didn't know my number. But I called my sister because I know my nephew is sort of going to be looking for a home soon. But she told me about a thing that he did this past weekend for my niece's birthday, my great niece's birthday. They rented out a cinema in Woburn, Mass. And I was thinking that would be a great thing to do with some of your customers. It was
super cheap right now too.
Super
My wife
cheap,
just brought that
that-
up. She's like, we should do this. They're super cheap and there's enough
Yeah,
seats you can spread them out.
Yep, they just had 6 people there, the grandparents and the parents and then 2 little kids. So 10. And they said it was a great thing. It wasn't expensive. And I said, you could get your customers with their kids and put them in the cinema.
It used to be $1,500 locally here to $2,000 to rent out the cinema. And now it's like $150.
Yep.
It's like crazy. Just 'cause they
I was
can't
trying
get
to
people
reach
in
my
the-
nephew, but he didn't answer me as to the exact price.
Yep. Any other ahas or?
Yeah, I kind of had an aha. I was trying to think of a strategy of who I can kind of call, and I was going through my my phone listing, and I said, who do I know that will tell who's the person in my database that if you want everybody to know something, you call this person. So
Brilliant
strategy.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So I have 3 people in my database on my phone that I called, and it was like perfect. It's like now I know that the word is going to be spread in like a minute. And actually got some feedback that they have a friend that's going to be looking for a home in South County here in Rhode Island, and I know that my information will get passed along. So that was exciting.
That's amazing. Now, what are you going to do for follow-up, Matt?
I'm going to obtain that person's information. My friend is going to actually text it over to me probably within the hour. And as soon as I get it, I'm immediately going to call that contact and initiate a conversation with them.
Okay. And if you don't get the contact from that client, reach out in a couple of days and be like, hey, just wanted to touch base and see if you spoke to that person.
Sure will. Yeah, great.
Easy way to follow up. What else, guys? Any other ahas?
Hey, Nick, this is Erin. I'm just going to ask, I am going to put a survey in the chat. If you could take a moment to fill out the survey. So let us know how awesome Nick was today. So we can get some data on that. I'm also going to put in the 10-4 form, the digital form that you can add to your calendar and send yourself a reminder or set a task every day to fill it out. And at the end of Ignite, you'll have a data sheet of what you did every day. So I'm going to post those in the chat now.
Nick who?
Nicholas Geisinger.
Just kidding. Just
If
kidding.
you guys have any referrals to Central Rhode Island, nickg@kw.com, please feel free. Or Mr. Matt Costa over here as well, another Rhode Island agent. So any other ahas from the phone calls? Was anybody afraid? Does anybody had any issues?
I think we all had issues.
Right, and that's practice, right? I had an agent many years ago when I got in this business, and all he did was expireds and for sale by owners. And he got me to start making some phone calls, and I was like, I don't feel comfortable. He's like, what do you care? These people don't know you, right? Just make the phone calls. The more calls you make, the more comfortable you're going to feel, right? And I was like, okay. And then I just started making phone calls, and the reality is, it wasn't all that bad. And my agents, I think we have group lead generation in my office. I think it's about 18 hours a week of group lead generation that we do, that people can go to. And I have agents, high-level agents that go in there all the time, and they'll come in and be like, man, I just made a fool of myself, right? And it happens to all of us. But the reality is, you know what? If you hadn't made that phone call, was there any opportunity that was going to come from it? No, right? You call and you goof something up. We're human, right? Calling up somebody and kind of sounding a little silly or whatever it might be, right, is a lot better than not making that phone call in the first place, right? So don't let that stress you out, you know?
What's a great voicemail you leave?
I got a couple, right? So one really good one, a lender of mine, actually, he used it for many years. If it's a lead, somebody that you haven't talked to ever before, what he would do is he would call people and be like, hey, what's going on? This is Nick Geisinger from Keller Williams Realty. I've got your file in front of me. Can you give me a call back when you get a chance? If you call me up and tell me you got your file in front of me, I'm going to call you back because I'm like, what file? The hell are you talking about file, right? So that works. Another one is, hey, what's going on? It's Nick Geisinger from Keller Williams Realty. Just wanted to touch base. Or if it's a sphere, I might cut out the Keller Williams thing and be like, hey, what's going on? It's Nick. I haven't talked to you in a while. Just want to touch base. Give me a call back when you get a chance. All right. I prefer to leave a voice message on every phone call that I make, even if I don't know the people. Other agents don't like to do that. I always leave a voicemail because if they don't answer the phone, they at least get the voicemail and maybe that spurs something, right? As opposed to me calling them and leaving them nothing and then calling them back a couple days later. So, but it's kind of personal preference. But
do you mind repeating that part about you got your file in front of me?
Yeah. So, hey, what's going on? This is Nick Geisinger from Keller Williams Realty. I've got your file in front of me. I'd love to discuss it if you can give me a call back. Or you can, some sort of a version of that, right?
Do you ever do the text message thing? So after calling, if someone doesn't answer, do you ever find it works to send a text? Hey, it's Nick. I was just reaching out.
Absolutely. Yep. So I have clients that will not respond to a phone call, but they will respond to a text message. So it's kind of up to you guys what you want to do and whatever.
That's a younger generation too. They like to do the text.
Yeah. So that's why we do phone calls, text message, and social media.
Mm-hmm.
So I teach a lot of commercial agents too. And the commercial agents, they're like, nope, phone calls. That's all we're going to do. I'm like, send them a text message.
Mm.
And they start sending text messages and they're like, man, this works. So I also have an agent that he used Twilio and Command. He had 3,000 contacts in his database, and he sends out about 100 to 200 text messages a week to people that are old leads from many years ago. And it's just a touching base with those people. And he gets quite a few responses from that too. Hey, what's going on? We spoke a couple of years ago. I apologize. I haven't talked to you in a while, but you were interested in buying back then. I just wanted to reach out, see if you'd ever bought or if you had any interest. And that's how he's weeding through a large database that he brought over from, something else. So text message works, social media works, networking works. It all works.
Nick, I'm very much like you when it comes to kind of the old school approach where I need to hear the voice. I need to see your face. I need to see how somebody's feeling, because how they're feeling. You can get a lot off of that. Expressions matter, all these different things, and understanding how a person's feeling in a moment even over in a phone call. You know, you can tell it's totally different than text, where texts, Facebooking, it's kind of not my thing. I get it. You need to use it for certain contacts. But I think at the end of the day, you need to hear somebody's voice on the phone. You need to see your face to kind of really get a feeling of where you stand and where they stand.
Yeah, absolutely. The best conversation you're going to have is either on the phone or in person is even better, right? But a conversation, the most instantaneous, the most gratifying conversation you will ever have is going to be in person, word for word, right? In person's even better, once again, because they can't hang up the phone, right? That's why door knocking is great. But once you have that person in front of you, that's powerful. Text, a lot of things can get lost through text message and social media. For many, many years, I coached and I said, phone calls, phone calls, phone calls, phone calls. But I have so many agents that have built these multi-million-dollar businesses based around text message and social media that I don't, try to hammer everybody again on the phones. But the reality is the phone and in person is the best thing you can do when it comes to lead generation. There's no one that's going to tell you that that's not the most active way to pursue people, but you can still be really successful through text message and messenger. So, and handwritten note cards and all these other methods. So that's why I do a variety of it, right? If they don't, like, I think it was Nicole that said it, if they don't pick up the phone, shoot them a text message, right? You might see your return on that time lead generating increase when you start doing that stuff. So keep track of it though too. Keep track of it, right? If you call somebody 10 times and they don't answer, and every time you text them they respond, well, that answers it right there. Maybe the text message is the best way for you to communicate with that particular client, right? Any other ahas or questions? All right. Well, if no one has any other questions, at this point in time, what I want you guys to do is I want you to get on the phones, all right? Build those relationships. Talk to as many people as you possibly can, okay? Real estate is a numbers game. The more people you talk to, the more opportunities you will have, the more closings you guys will have. It's been an absolute pleasure teaching and working with you guys today. You guys are all amazing. You're all going to be superstars. Listen to your coaches, please. They are incredibly smart. They know what they're doing. They have coaches. They're trained at a high level. Okay, take advantage of Command. It's an amazing product, right? Get involved with your local boards and have fun with this. Real estate is a lot of fun, guys. So pleasure. Take it easy, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Erin, thank you so much. I appreciate it. You're a superstar.
Thank you. We'll see you
Thank
later.
you, Erin.
Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Go crush the day.